What is happening, you bunch of rascals? We are back. It's Sunday. It's Awaken with Beverli Rhodes. We're here with Asria and Beverli. I'm Ron Swanson. This is the Sean Atwood channel. And I just want to say, I hope you've had a fantastic weekend. The countdown to Christmas is it is coming in fast and furious. Now, due to some technical difficulties involving Ron and consistency in order in which I send information, this is one of the greatest muck-ups of my life, right? So there was 2 sets of DNA, one for this week, one for next week, that were sent over to Asria, but I sent them in the wrong order, right? So we were meant to have James's DNA tonight, but that was sent second. So Big Homie CC's DNA was done, but he's not available till next week. So I do have a nice message from Big Homie. I'll play at the end as well. Let me know. First of all, I don't know if you guys will be able to hear this, but hopefully, let me know if you can hear this.
This is Big Homie.cc. Just to let everyone know, I will be live next week with Ron and Beverli for Off-World DNA. Keep fighting the good fight, everyone. Godspeed.
Yeah.
My G, big fucking sweet dreams to you, my guy.
That's Ron's reply in twice the speed that it should be at, telling him to go to bed. So yeah, as long as you all heard that, just to let you guys know that is happening. Very, very excited about it. There's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes with Beverli and Big Homie and myself. We've got a wee documentary that I've been working on, and it's very, very exciting. We'll be playing the trailer for that just shortly, too. I will replay the message as well for the non-believers out there towards the end. The Big Homie will be with us next week. Send out all your positive vibes. The guy's been up all night. He's getting some sleep. Plus, he's got to do long-distance traveling tonight. So, fun. The work never stops. Beverli Rhodes, how are you? Okay, now everything's fine. You're in landscape this evening. You're in Port. You're in Port this evening. So that's all right.
Everything's fine. Just had some amazing footage sent through from one of my lovely clients who has been a contactee since she was the age of 4. And it looks like they've been appearing at her house, in front of her house, at the back of her house. And the doorbell actually picked up some of the footage, so she's very kindly shared it with us, and
it's a bit mad.
It looks it's very nice.
So actually, what I'm going to do is, while you guys, when we get into our first segment, I'm going to download this video and I'm going to do all the nerd stuff to it. And
while you're doing that, I'm going to say to everyone out there, if you are getting pictures in crystals, if you're getting some live footage of the skies, whatever it is, send it to us, because we're always interested to see what our viewers are getting and to participate in your lives. We're always very open to whatever you send us.
Now, I just want to say another big bit of exciting news is next Sunday, Beverli and I are starting a new series with John Wedger, looking into true crime, looking into cases, and Beverli adding her Jedi sprinkle of goodness across the whole genre. Now, tonight, was meant to happen, but it's next week is starting too. It's been a fantastic day, so we can do a bit of a whopper show for you guys tonight. I know a lot of you want to get questions in. Start getting the questions in now. Okay, it's just after 6:30. If we go till about 8 o'clock, right, and then we start the Q&A parts, or even 8:30, and we need to be finished for the next show at 9:30. That's 3 hours of Beverli Rhodes. Okay, listen, you guys can thank me later. I know some of you are just ticking things off your Christmas wish list, and you're like, he's nailed it. I got my Christmas wish. Okay, but Wednesday we're going to be trying to launch the first stage of Asria and Beverli's Patreons. A lot of people on Discord have been asking me, how can we support them? How can we get their services and all of this? So the first wave of that is going to hopefully roll out on Wednesday. Now, it's going to be structured in a way so that there's ways to support, then there's ways to get services, and then there's the emulated services from their websites. So you'll see all of it laid out. Okay, but it's it's long overdue, and I'm very much excited about it. No Nova yet. Okay. Questions about the true crime. I would save the questions for the true crime night. When you see this video, you're all going to freak out, and that's at least half an hour of content. I'm going to rant for about 10 minutes, easy. It's 10 seconds, and it's a mad one. So yeah, get your questions in, and
we'll try and answer as many as we can this time,
we
guys.
will. Yeah. Now, Bev. Oh no, Asria.
Yeah.
Asria, how are you doing? What's been happening with you since we last time we seen you? How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Right at the tail end of a cold, which I'm pleased to say. But no, I've had some amazing people contact me over the past couple of weeks and done some incredible readings. Met this wonderful lady the other day who was her. I hope she won't mind me saying, but her main DNA was blue avian, and you could just see in her whole physical outlook and the way her face, and she was like covered in bird pictures, her place was. So
Wow.
oh, that was incredible. Makes me tingle every time I think of it. So
Yeah, that's cool.
no, just had some really great readings, really great DNA sessions, and even a bonus is I'm getting over my cold. So all good. Thanks, Ron.
Wicked. Well, wicked. And there's a lot of things that are still to be announced, but Asri and I will be having a weekly morning, afternoon, earlier than evening show. It will probably be after the daily show, but before effectively the first evening slot. And we've got some interesting, you've got some idea. We got some cool. Do you want to hint at what we're going to be doing? Because it's going to be very much the same thing each week, right? And it's going to be focused on off-world DNA, but you want to tell people who the first person is we're going to take a stab at? You want to drop that one in, or what are you thinking, Andrew? We want to keep them on the hook just now, or you want to throw them a bone?
Well, it's really looking at following on from the great work that Beverli was doing around Diddy. So we're going to start looking at people like Elon Musk. We're going to start looking at a whole bunch of people that I actually can't remember off the top of my head. So
don't
but
worry.
definitely Elon Musk, maybe Beyonce in there, but maybe get you guys involved as well and kind of like interacting to say, who would you like me to kind of have a look at? But remember, this is from a higher level because we need to get their permission, but certainly we can start having a look at people like Elon Musk and Beyonce, and so send in who you'd like to start having a look at.
It's gonna be good times, people. It's gonna be good times now.
Celebrities. But I think we did send off, didn't we, to Elon Musk? We sent him an email to say this is what you're going to be doing. And as he's a Sapphire from SA as well, then come on, guys, let's do something. Nothing to hide, and let's see if he comes back. Even if it's just his secretary that comes back, it's all good.
Oh, see, if I had these gifts,
we have asked. That's the one we have asked. So fingers crossed. Thank you.
Yeah, see, if I had these gifts, I would be I'd be outcast from the community. I would just be delving into everybody. I would be running amok with power. I'm telling you, man, it would be terrible. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't really. Right. Okay. So listen, one thing we are going to test tonight as well is if you're on Discord and you've got a green label next to your name, you'll be able to join what's called the members voice chat room. And I want to sort of just dip our toe, a little bit of a toe dip, into a kind of call in with Asria and Beverli Rhodes style. I mean, you're not really calling in because it's Discord, but I'd like to trial that. So I'm going to join the room now, and I'm going to turn all my sounds and stuff off, so you'll see me in that room. So if you can access that room that I'm in now, get yourself in there. You can talk. It won't interrupt the live stream or anything like that because I've got my sounds off, but I'll be able to select people, and we'll be able to see if people on the internet can be trusted. And I'm sure you all can.
I'm sure they can be trusted. They've all got good energies. They're all lovely viewers. We love our viewers.
Yeah, we do. And there's a Discord link as well if you'd like to come and join us. If you're joining tonight, you won't be able to come and talk to us tonight. Once you've chatted a little bit and we know that you're not an unsavory character, you'll be given a green label. All right.
And there it is, and I can see it on my screen at the bottom. Oh wow!
There we go.
Love the technology. Love it.
You do, yes. It's the things you do are like a wizard to me, and the simple tech things I do make me a wizard to you, Bev. And it's I love the dynamic. So listen. We're going to talk a little bit first of all tonight about the process. I'll let Beverli explain this because you can save you all laughing at me trying to explain it. But take us through the first segment of tonight. Where are we heading to first, Bev?
So the first segment we're doing a bit of behind the scenes with Asria. So we're looking at you know, what is the process? What are the first levels that we go through? And then looking at, you know, what it was that she was picking up, how she picks it up, and which areas she starts with, so that you understand it is a very lengthy process. It's not something that we can do really quickly. And then once she's got some of the big aspects have been sorted and she's got the preliminary report done, then what we do is we sift through that, and then I also then get involved with her, and we do a bit of a remote view together, and we make sure that the information that we are picking up in the energies is actually correct. So I'm going to hand over to Asria, and she can explain, you know, like a step for step how she goes through doing this lovely alien DNA, junk DNA reading.
Nice. Just before you do that, Asria, can we get a like and a share from everyone, please? I'm going to be paying attention to the side chat, getting your questions collated. We've got 4 or 5 people already joined into the Discord, so that's definitely going to get trialed. There's a couple of people in there, actually, that one in particular that has got a pretty severe shadow. And you know, there's more to it, but we'll maybe even get the chance to touch on that tonight. Ron, did you see Big Homie CC's Mind Burster Truth Bomb? Ron's not been on the internet for about 36 hours looking at anything other than Pokemon. I'm not going to lie. I sort of took some time to just relax a little bit. So Cassius, give me a little bit more and I'll let you know. Asria, handing over to you. Thank you so much for letting me just waffle over you there. Thank you very much. Right, carry on.
That's quite okay, Ron. No worries. So no, thank you so much for the intro there, Beverli, as well. It's as Beverli was just alluding to there, it is a in-depth process, and like with any form of energy work, so you do have to ensure that your area first and foremost around you is secure, because you are going into different energy fields and you are going into different individuals. So, for example, I make sure that my home is fully safe. Everything, all the electrics off, from electric sockets to the air to the front door, is all secure. Then we go into ensuring that there has been an acceptance by the individual, and that we've got a date of birth, and the full name at birth is critical. People get married and have different surnames. There's nicknames. Sometimes a nickname can also be really helpful, because that is the energy that that person is vibrating with. However, when it comes to the DNA and going into that person's energy field and energy body, etc., we need to know exactly that is the person who we are reading. That is the person who those vibrations and frequencies are indeed being picked up from.
So is that effectively so you don't tune into the wrong person, right?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
I mean, there may, yeah. So it is highly unlikely that you've got many people by exactly the same name born on exactly the same date. So you do then ask things like, what was saying, nicknames and things like that. So once we've actually got that, once our area is secure, then I kind of go, it can only be described as like slightly meditative state. And that is where I'm very much connected and sort of in the same room as my guides. So as I've mentioned before, there is one guide who I mainly speak to, Off-Worlder, if he's been correcting me already, who I have been working with throughout this whole process very, very closely with. However, there are the other 25 that more or less stand behind him the whole time. So once I've actually, again, using the unifier, it gives me an indication. And now this is the key bit that I've been working on for the past 2 or 3 years, is what do those movements mean? But what do I actually feel? So as I said, it's a triangulated effort. So it's what am I being channeled through from my guides? So what are they saying? What is the feeling I'm getting for each one of those beings? Some of them I'm more familiar with, others, and some of them not as much. If I'm not as familiar, then I will rely on my team a little bit more. And then, as I said, there's various movements depending on, have I got that DNA? Is it that one? And how strong is it? And that's when we determine, is it a dominant? Is it a secondary? Or is it a trace? So it's there, but it's not as impactful. From there, I have like a tick list, like a little tick sheet, if you like. I have offered my notes to the individuals that I'm reading for, but I trust anyone to try and read my writing, especially when you're not actually physically looking at the page. Because a lot of this is either done sometimes with my eyes closed, and I'm absolutely trusting on what is going on the page at the time from channeling my guys. Sometimes I go back just to do a double check.
Can I have a couple of questions, Asria, at this point? Can I have a couple of questions? So,
sure.
Can you strengthen what it is you're doing by having a greater collective group channeling with you? Is there like a chaining of there is, right?
Yeah.
Now, does that cross off of our world? So, for example, are you able to tune off world? Is there like a reception level, so to say?
Yeah.
There is. And would you need more than just you to do that? So, for example, is it, like a walk? Is it like a radio? The further you're away from what you're looking for, the weaker the signal is, or is it just
not necessarily? No, time and space is linear, so no.
Okay, that's fine. Carry on.
Oh, absolutely no. Fantastic question, Ron. Thank you.
Because honestly, I'm so sucked in by this, right? Like
that's all very much linear. That's why we ask for those specifics. Sometimes I just also double check what country, because then we're looking at time zones. Because obviously sometimes I try and make sure that maybe like the person's asleep, because as you've experienced there, Ron, is that when I do actually pinpoint you, as it were, some people do either get a little bit of a twitch in their back, or they might get a little bit of pins and needles and things like that. So sometimes with a couple of the clients that I've had recently have been in the States. So that's been quite nice in regards to once I've got their acceptance, they're in the land of Nod. So they're asleep. So which is great. So it kind of gives me that little bit more time, and I don't have to worry, are they driving or this, that, and the other. So I do try and make sure before I actually start the session, before I've actually kind of really delved in there, that they're not driving or one thing and the other. So sometimes it is quite nice to know, yes, I do ask the question, is it safe to do so? Because I don't know what reaction that they'll actually get. So 9 times out of 10, or even sometimes with my UK clients, is that I might then stay up later knowing that it's late at night. So again, I know that it's perfectly safe to do so, which hopefully kind of carries on from your question there, Ron. So with the collective who I work with, it's more or less a representation of most of the beings that I've got listed. Not necessarily every single one, granted, but sometimes, like for an example, when I was doing your reading, Ron, is that we had the giants. That was the most amazing experience I've had in a while, because it was literally, I think I said at the time,
there was a forest, right?
I knew there was the ancestors there, but I literally turned around and there was this giant just standing in the room. So as soon as you kind of go, like, it's almost like an acknowledgement.
Oh, listen,
to say I've acknowledged that you're there, and I acknowledge that you're a part of this person. They kind of like stand up, or if they're one of my collective, they stand forward. So my guy sort of steps back and then they step forward, or sometimes they come into the room. Another example, another lady I had an angel.
My personality, that guy was probably just stood in the wrong place. Everyone else was stood in the right place waiting for the reading, and the giant side of me was just probably like, where do I go? He stood in front of everyone else, clumsy and doesn't know what's going on. Because I'm telling you, a clumsy giant that's a bit of a fairy sums me up to a T. Asria, like UAT. But yeah, sorry for
So I'll
interrupting
go and
you.
see the lady with the pink hair. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, very, very much so. So there's a whole number of things, and that's what I mean about really sort of triangulating what I'm actually picking up, and at the same time as well with that making notes. It is all of those channeled messages that actually come for that individual. So not only is it identifying that DNA, but picking up on what Beverli was saying around sometimes, especially with the big homie one, I will then maybe ask for Bev support and do a slightly further in-depth remote viewing as well, just to see what other information can we do to support that individual. But 9 times out of 10, when I'm working on clients individually, once the actual DNA has been identified, then it is that further channeled message to say, okay, right, well, we've identified that it's, say, like a Lyran or Palladian, etc.
Yeah.
That the dominant ones are, but how does that actually link in with that individual? What is it that we're actually sort of saying? Is it that there's behaviors? Is there abilities? Is there, what is it that they can use to empower themselves and actually use this information and use this knowledge going forward as part of their awakening, spiritual journey?
Let me just ask the side chat something. Would you guys like a segment in the show where we do an off-world profile of a species? So, you know, like when you look at like a nature documentary and it's like they tells you about the lions or whatever, we'll do a little section that profiles one of the species and kind of breaks it all down, if that makes sense. And we can all kind of learn a little bit about that, because you know, when we see and hear about the reptilians and the dragonians and things like this, the ones that are very easy to put visual to in your head in some sense, whereas there's some that aren't. And I think that would be, I think we should all go out this week and buy a little notepad that Ron's already done, and some pens and highlighters, kids, because Hogwarts is open, yo, and we are here for the freaking long haul. So I think that would be good fun. I think that would be good fun. Because I'm just, or even what would be even better is if you and Beverli can point me to things on the internet that give the actual descriptions and stuff like that. I'll go and throw this into a segment that I can do. I'll make it all.
There's loads
yeah.
of stuff. Yeah, we can tell you where to go with things, because
just
there's 72 species, so there's definitely a lot of information out there.
Sounds like 72 weeks worth of segments for Ron. It's a year and a half worth of segments there. Well, because I'll start compiling them all, and we can do them as segments, but then I'll upload them as like a playlist, so that we've got an actual working tool for everyone that's going to be joining. Because I mean, we're almost up to 1,000 people out the door across all platforms. If you guys can give a little share again, that would be fantastic. And I'm again sorry for interrupting, but
no, that's fine. And I mean, I have been putting together kind of like my own encyclopedia as well over the past couple of years. So which we can look at utilizing there as well, because there are, as you said, there are materials out there, and there's various reference guides that I use, not only from the information that I'm told and that I can see myself from the beings that step forward, but yeah, there's a couple of really good resources on the internet, and also books as well. So I keep on looking over there at my list, but I can't actually pronounce a few of the writers, so I do apologize. But there's various encyclopedias and things.
Well,
so from once I've actually compiled that list, then that's when I go into writing the report. So that's a really good segue onto there in regards to all the channeled information, the identification of those DNAs, then goes into reports, which if you guys have looked at previous videos, we've shared. So I very much go into detail around the 2 to 3 dominant DNAs. Again, for everybody, it's slightly different. Sometimes there could be 2 dominant, sometimes there can be 3. And then, but that's when the channel messages come in to say, what are the abilities? What are the, thanks, Ron.
This is me.
Yeah.
Just so
So
you've got a
we
reference.
look at the percentages. So what was the actual strength of that DNA? And obviously for Ron's, it was very much the giants, and then the elementals was the second strongest. Then there was a level 2 where the Nordics and the avians, if I remember correctly, kind of had their own, were on their own sort of percentage there. And then the rest was made up of Syrians, Palladians, Mantis, reptilians, and so on.
Yeah.
But then
But also
when it
we
comes
found,
down
didn't we,
to
when we were looking at some of the energies, we did find that some of those energies, when we were looking at them, they exploded our own energies as we were tuning into them. And there were some that made us very hot, and some that made the tips of our fingers go a bit cold. So we're finding that each of the species seems to, depending on how they're interacting, and it really is external to our bodies. It's outside of what we're doing. It's just an energy wave. We're not asking them at all, because I know some people think, oh gosh, you know, they're allowing these beings into your physical body. No, we're not doing that. What we're doing is we're having a telepathic discussion. We're having communication outside as a one-to-one being, but we never actually give up our sovereign bodies, or the husk, as we like to call it, and we certainly never allow them to start moving in towards us, because then that brings in a whole different set of issues. So that's not what we do.
Do you find that mainly comes from what I would say the paranormal community as opposed to the supernatural community? I would say you guys are supernatural, right? Whereas because I think a lot of people, that sounds to me what somebody would say if you were on, say, a ghost hunt, and there was, you know, evil energies there, and they were worried about coming into you. Do you find that that's a common sort of misconception from people that have been in the paranormal realm a lot?
You're right, Ron. You're right, Ron. And that's why I just wanted to clarify that, because a lot of people don't understand the difference between the telepathic communication, and they don't understand, you know, what is channeling and how channeling works. And actually, a lot of channelers don't. Some do what we call a full incorporation, where you have this being coming in from the left, taking over the entire sovereign body, speaking in a different way, having totally different mannerisms, and actually portraying a different being. That is when you're fully taken over. And some individuals will say, well, actually, that sounds to me more like a possession as opposed to, you know, channeling someone. But there are those like us. What we do is we take that energy and we have this one-to-one discussion with the beings, and we understand then telepathically. And that's also a type, it's a telepathic type of channeling. So really we're having this discussion backwards and forwards with these individuals, and particularly those off-worlders where perhaps they're quite new to humans or to hybrids. They do have a lot to say, but sometimes they're quite shy, so they don't always come forward. So you don't always get this impression on your mind of particular things, but they do. It's really lovely. Sometimes they'll send you like pictures of the home world. So some of the pictures we've had recently is there have been different species where actually they have, you know, blue grass instead of green grass, or pink grass instead of green grass. And there's when we see the pictures, one of the ones recently has been like a crystal city, which was just absolutely beautiful. And there's all these different images that come, and you think, oh my goodness, that's amazing. And you just have this fleeting image, and then they just show you something almost like, you know, a film or a picture. So that gets pushed onto your consciousness, so you understand it, see it. Yes, thank you very much. Take it in through the third eye and move it through, and then put it in the report. And that's what's happening at a higher level with Asria. A lot of the time it's this churn of energy and moving and changing. And this is when Asria writes all these beautiful reports that are written, it's talking about each of those individuals at that level, but more importantly is understanding how that then merges with the individual that's having the reading as part of that non-biological function, junk DNA.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so again, everyone, just make sure you throw a little like and a share. We'll throw it back to Asria, and yeah, just let's try and imagine supernatural being two beings, one being Beverli or Asria, and then the other being these off-worlders. They are living entities who have super gifts, shall we say, supernatural, right? That's what makes sense to me. Paranormal is very much a different thing, right? A different thing altogether. Tell me if I'm wrong in the side chat. Feel free to disagree with me. We're all here at the school of Beverli and Asria. Make sure you give us a little like, little share, and we'll hand back over. And yeah, you were talking a little bit about the sections here, Asria.
Yeah, thank you. And no, thank you, Beverli. That was an amazing overview there, and some bits I'd forgotten, especially around what is actually seen. But I think what I'd really like to add in there is just two bits. First of all, absolutely around the protection. Yeah, we're not actually taking absolutely anything on. And the one thing around the build of the unifier as well is the materials that it's made from, and one in particular is the copper, because the copper is actually the antibacterial, so it doesn't allow that two-way move of energy as well. So not only have we got our own protection, so absolutely thank you so much, Beverli. Following on from that is what I was just being reminded of, is that copper within the unifier itself.
Have you got the unifier in front of you, Asria?
I do usually, but it's hiding from me. I will get it. I'll get it for you in a second.
You've got the silver at the top, you know, the pure 999 silver. So the top of it is not just sterling silver. It's actually 999. So it's literally 1% off 100% pure. And also it's got diamonds and rubies and emeralds and things like that at the top. So it has all of those natural metals and elements that would make that become like a powerhouse, if you like. So from that point of view, that energy that's moving, and also because it's shaped, it has this continual circular motion happening that allows those energies to move around, which gives Asria the opportunity to both look at it as it's spiraling, but also Asria can then compress that energy and pull it out and then pop in to any of the timeline areas in the compressed energy. So it's probably, you know, I know we're talking about what the process and how it's done, but it's probably a lot more detailed perhaps than what most would think. It's not just a case of tuning in and getting the information. It is 3 sets of information that's happening at once. The information coming through energetically from the unifier, the energy also that's coming through from the off-world beings that are impressing on the mind telepathically some items that they want to talk about and explaining. And then the third aspect is that energy, that lovely energy that's coming off the individual that you're reading at the time. So that connection to the third eye and connecting with them at that level, so that energy is giving you a full, well-rounded, a very rich level of understanding. And if you look at the top of Asria's report, you can see on the side there's a being in the middle of the vortex with all of that energy and all those lovely areas moving around, which includes our normal general human DNA, but more importantly, also includes what is called the junk DNA, which is where we're able to find all the information about the off-world DNA that's been used in that being, i.e. the human that we're reading.
Yeah, so fascinating. Dawn, thank you so much for your super chat. Oh, here she brought out this is the unicorn horn, as we so accustomed to calling it now.
Are you calling it a unicorn horn? Oh my goodness. Okay, that's interesting.
The side chat christened it that when we first met Asria, and it's stuck in my head from there.
I think it's beautiful. It's such a magical instrument anyway, and yeah, no, thank you, Beverli. That was absolutely amazing how that was described. But
there's the top.
certainly
so
you've
have a
got
look.
the silver
Well, I'm not
that
being
was
funny. I'm
referred
not
to
being
there.
funny. It's not like you would come on the internet and be like, "Oh, by the way, I did have to kill a unicorn for this," even if
No.
you did, right? Because unicorns are like the Scottish national, like the national like creature of Scotland officially, right? It's our
Oh, right.
national creature. Make that make
Okay, I
sense.
didn't know.
Yeah, it's wild. So anyway, yeah, the unicorn horn. What's its proper name,
Yeah,
Asria?
so apologies for that. It was
Unifier.
certainly hiding. It's been very busy today, so she was often
It's called
hides
the
from me. So
unifier.
there we go. I just said you're not coming out to work, you're just coming out for a show. So
To play.
there we go. So no, thank you so much for that. So and yeah, I just really wanted to add around the actual makeup of it as well. So after I said the session's done, then we come to actually writing the report, and I think Beverli very kindly captured everything there amazingly. So this is some of the time really takes the time, because again you're kind of getting that channeled message through as well, because at the end of the day it's really on how we are using this information. So it's good to get this information and to have that, and to have it clarified what those dominant DNA strands are. But how does that, it's the question, how is this good for me? What will this do for me? How can I then tune into and start using the abilities? There might be some things that my clients have said before, that things actually start making sense as to like bits within their personality sometimes as well. As I was just saying before with that lovely lady with the avians, it was the case of she's surrounded by bird pictures, and her whole energy was very much sort of bird-like as well. So there's a lot of questions that can be answered with finding out that information, and working on a one-to-one basis. You kind of are able to as much ask the questions as much as sort of get a reading on top of the DNA session to see how that can be impactful on your journey going forward.
Do you find it's a bit of a vortex as well, Asria? Do you find that, I know when we've handled, we'll call it the unicorn for everybody here, because it's just ever so cute.
It's rebranded.
It's rebranded itself. So when we've got the unicorn horn, do you find, that when you take your hand above the energy, that energy we know does come up, and we know that top of that, the unicorn horn, goes out and finds the individual. But I think that sometimes we find that energy goes up and out, and it splays out into the universe because it's looking for the types of beings. So it could actually also be a direct connection to a similar type of vortex, because we notice that when that energy returns, it comes back with information. So it's like a DNA structure that comes back, and it's a transference of that DNA and that structure that tells us about what's in there, what's part of that being, and then we can ask it for more information.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's when we were saying around the triangulation. So, but no, put it beautifully. Absolutely. It's working with, as I said, the 23 who I work with, but as I said, there's a few who I don't. So yes, absolutely agree with you there, that it is that sometimes having to go out and clarify. I would also add to that as well. I know with one or two, and I'm not sure how much I can say in regards to the homie reading, but there sometimes, even if there's even if there's
little tiny bit, but that's it.
So with some people, it's the case of, even though the acceptance has been given, it may then take a while to actually provide that assurance to all the various energy bodies and things, and to say, actually, so it's not a case of, okay, I've kind of like sent out my little probe, as it were. So I don't know where my camera's gone. There it is. I've sent out the probe. There we go. That's the person. That's Mrs. Smith on date of birth X. I've found her type of thing.
Yeah.
It's the case of having that clarity. It's having that confirmation and that clarity of, yes, that is the person that you're actually reading. So sometimes actually to get in to that person, even though, as I said, the acceptance has been given, there is further work that sometimes needs to be done, and conversations with that person's guides as well, because sometimes it's the guides that go, oh, hold on a minute, I don't recognize this. So there is that kind of further work to be done. Not always. Some people are saying, yeah, okay, yeah, I know Asria, that's fine. I know her vibrations, I know her frequencies. Yeah, go on, dive in, absolutely fine. But then I think my point I was trying to get to is that sometimes we do need to, especially around that protection level.
Yeah, we need to smooth the way, don't we? Sometimes
smooth the way. Yeah, that's the best way of putting it.
Smooth it, because sometimes individuals, particularly different levels of individuals and humans, they are very protective of the soul, obviously, because there's those out there that want to steal the light and steal the souls from people. We know this, but also sometimes when you're trying to read someone or you're trying to get that information, you'll get this where there's a prickle, like what happened on Friday with Sam, where I had to work really hard to speak to Sam in a live environment on the show, because although he had said, yes, I'm absolutely happy for you to, to read and pick up energies and frequencies, he did find it hard because he was concerned what I might say. But what I think people need to realize is that neither myself nor Asria, will never do anything to embarrass you. And we are governed by a very strict code. We will never, ever interfere with free will. We will always manage whatever energies you have. And if we see that they're spiking to a very heightened level, we'll then pull out and we'll remove ourselves. And it's always very clean in, pure energy, and clean out. And we'll never, we can actually just work on the periphery. It's not as in depth, obviously, because you're working on the outside of the shell on this side. But ideally, we make sure that the individual is comfortable. And if the person is not comfortable, then we pull back.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Unless you're
again, just to sort of
a horrible human being, then they'll reach through space and time and crush your heart and your chest with their hands. Okay, you got to remember, don't be on the naughty list. Okay, you got to stay on the nice list. Don't be on that naughty list.
But just to sort of follow on from that, it's really around. So once you've had the opportunity to read the report as well, that's when we then have the one-to-one session and actually go through it. If you've got any questions, then I'll work with my guides and your guides. And just if there's any questions that may need answering, very similar to the sessions that sort of we've had on here, and sometimes we might go through into a little bit of a deeper meditation. So again, following on from what Beverli was saying, after we've had that hour 2 hour exchange, because there will be an energy exchange during that time. Because it's a case of doing the reading, maybe going in to check and clarify anything. Because remember, I don't necessarily know the person, so sometimes there might be a little bit of clarity that's required. Maybe you've got some questions, I may have one or two. So there will be that energy exchange. So right at the end of that hour and a half, we will ensure that not only that we're both grounded, but we're not only that we're both protected, but that we're both grounded as well. Because as Beverli was saying, it's not then going, we've done all this amazing energy work and then just sending you out into the world. It's making sure that, you are absolutely grounded again, because sometimes there is quite a lot of information to take in and absorb as well. So there will sometimes be further questions or indeed follow-up sessions as well, but certainly working on following up from what Beverli was just saying there in regards to once the actual session's done, we will ensure that there's that level of grounding, because there has been an energy exchange within that sort of one-to-one session as well. Was there anything else you would like me to cover off there, Beverli or Ron?
I think we can also explain, because there's been a lot of questions recently, certainly from my clients. There was a couple last week that came up and said, well, if I have an alien DNA reading, I have had an out-of-body experience where I was taken to meet my hybrid child. And I think some of the individuals, both men and women, have been concerned that if during the DNA reading, what if my child's DNA comes up and that it's obvious that by the envelope of energy around me has this extra little being on the other side that is actually, you know, a hybrid being, that is part of my DNA with other external DNAs from other extraterrestrial races. And I think that's something that we can perhaps cover, because you will sometimes, particularly if you have been off-world or you've done an out-of-body, or for some reason you've actually participated in a different type of breeding program, either voluntarily or involuntarily, like in the case with a lot of the greys, where they collect DNA material from humans without our permission. It does still mean that when you're tuning in to that energy, you will see this little piece, which is an extra person, a soul that has been created using your own human DNA. So I think that that's one thing to add, that we will sometimes find that there is an extra little person there occasionally. I've only seen it so far about 3 times, and usually the person knows that there's something different, that DNA has been shared, and they're aware that there might be a hybrid child there somewhere off-world.
Wow.
Wonderful. And that's when we would absolutely stand before. It's that clarity of who you're reading. So no, thank you for sharing that. Absolutely.
And then also, if we have a look at further down where we're talking about at the end, we also get what they call trace elements. So when we're talking about traces, it's actually right at the bottom. You'll see a couple of names of types of beings, and they are really, really small. So if you take a toffee and you crush that toffee and then you pull it, it becomes like a silver line, almost a very shiny silver line. And that these here, the Pleiadians, the Sirians, Mantis beings, and others, those of light, etc., those were the energy signatures and frequency that was really, really small. And it wasn't large enough actually to be able to say, well, you know, this is a large portion of this person. But what I will say for Ron, the Mantis being and the reptilian that you've got in there, they would definitely come into being if you as a person walking on this earth right now were threatened, or if somebody was going to slap you around the chops. Your Mantis being, your Sirian, and your other DNA of your reptilian DNA, like a flash, boom, that info, that DNA is going to be right in, and you're going to be able to be that warrior and just get that person out of the way, because they're very strong. Although they're very they're lesser than those that we found was the highest DNA. If you were ever threatened, these 3 that you can see there, those are the 3 that would most definitely bring a protective side to you.
Well, here's the thing: when we talk about percentages and we talk about what has got the most ingredients in this great recipe of my DNA, if the Mantis and the reptilians are something like a ghost pepper, you're only going to need a sliver. Okay,
exactly. Indeed.
So it's interesting, but I would 100% say I definitely get Mantis eyes when I get upset. That is 100% the darkness, 100%. So I feel it. I'm actually in the background here playing around with that video footage you sent to get that ready for us, and just playing around with some colors and things.
I will also say here for the Pleiadians, which we didn't really cover much, mainly because it was like just we didn't have enough time, did we, Asria? The Pleiadians as well. I think that you've got that they have an amazing creative ability with them. So I do think perhaps over the next year or so, you're going to find that creative ability is going to get a lot stronger, because that is what we call developing DNA, where there's a certain level of DNA now, but it will become, you're going to add more percentages to it as that DNA moves forward. And certainly I find that the DNA becomes stronger up to the age of 40. And then at the age of 40, that DNA then is compressed into the individual at 40, and then it's balanced. So then you'll find after that, it becomes nice and stable. So from 40 to 60, you'd be able to use all of this and not just pockets of it.
Do you know, that's mental, because that also makes total sense to me. The first 4 decades were a nightmare compared to what the next 4 decades are going to be. I'll tell you that right now. So yeah, that makes total sense. And again, when we think about percentages and ingredients, and we think about like how you don't need a lot of something in order for it to come to the surface when you need it, if that makes sense.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, this is very, very interesting, ladies. Like and share, people. Get this pushed out. If anybody wants to know, we've almost done an hour. It doesn't feel like it, but I'm telling you now, we've got a lot left to go. And it's fascinating, because one of the points, Asria, that you said earlier was personality traits in the results, right? And you just said it and just skimmed over it, because I'll tell you this: I've seen you do me and Kaza, who are the people that I know, right? Me and Kaza. So out of the two you've done, out of people, because I know myself and I know Kaza, you've got 100% success record with personality traits, like things that fundamentally make me and Kaza the person we are at the core, right? It goes so deep, you know.
Thank you.
And I cannot wait. I just want to say as well, I'll play the message right now. Next Sunday, people, if you missed it, I'll play it again now. This is a little message from the one and only Big Homie for all the viewers.
This is Big Homie.cc. Just to let everyone know, I will be live next week with Ron and Beverly for Off-World DNA. Keep fighting the good fight, everyone. Godspeed.
Joanne the fucking nod.
Oh god, I did it again. I gotta stop playing that. It's so fast. So yeah, so listen, it's super duper exciting. I don't know who Tony is, but happy birthday, Tony. And yeah, it's super exciting, because like I say, do you know what? It's really weird, right? Because Beverly's pretty upfront. Like, Beverly came on Sean's live stream and, you know, wanted to prove make believers of me and Sean, and, you know, dipped into Sean's head and blew his mind, dipped into Samson's head and blew his mind. And
yeah, Samson, I know he got really upset, and I felt really bad.
That dude's life has changed over the last 2 years. Dude, like, he's messaged me about 6 times. Like, Ron, I'm still processing all of this, and he's like, everything. He's like trying to explain to his wife everything that happened.
Oh dear, God bless him. Well, if he's got any questions, I mean, that was like full on. But that was the thing, you know. At the end of the day, you know, I had to tune into the energies, and because that was like really strong. And I was like, well, you know what, I'll just do the strongest one. And it was just unfortunate that it was a very emotional, traumatic experience that I was relaying. And that's why I said, well, you know, pull out. Unless you want to show some of it to our viewers, because then they will understand what we're talking about when Samson comes on.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And when I was laughing just there, I wasn't laughing at the whole thing. It was Samson's messages to me, because his wife's a bit of a skeptic, right?
So he's skeptic.
Yeah, but listen, right? So obviously he's told his wife, oh, it's a new podcast tonight, first episode and stuff, and then it's ended. And he's gone downstairs and he's like, that was so emotional. Trying to explain this to his wife, that this lady Beverli Rhodes had come on, dipped into his head and done all of this stuff. And she's I think it's going to be, I think there's definitely an offshoot series of the Friday show where we try and make a believer of Samson's wife. But it was incredible. And of course the whole thing was based off here's the thing. me and Samson were talking about Beverli before the show. I said, well, listen, Beverli could come on and do some comedy where she kind of,
it wasn't comedy. It
no,
wasn't
oh
comedy.
no. Because I thought what was going to happen was like she'd go in and she'd be like, oh, you've got a lot of blue t-shirts, or you've got this, or you've been using that type of toothpaste for an awfully long time, or just something like this. But oh no, she has to go straight to the core, straight to the man's like Achilles heel, and fix his entire like it was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing, right? Because you came on, you identified a man in trouble, and you genuinely helped him, right? But my God, what the way and the platform and the show and when it happened, it was a beautiful moment, right? I have to say. So, but listen, I can already hear the comments being written. Shut up, Ron. Let the ladies talk. So, where do we go next from here, Asria? Obviously, we've got.
Let's look at the lovely, if we can look at the footage that was caught by the doorbell.
Oh yeah,
I think that is. Oh, there it is. Yes,
this is mad, right?
So if you have a look on the left, they appeared in the sky, but only ever so slightly. Remember, this is just a normal doorbell, so you can see the houses. Now you see there, they were checking in on this lady. And then they check in. She could feel their presence, which is why she went to the door, forgot that it was being filmed, went to the door, had a look, acknowledged them, and then they went.
Now, I just want to say, anyone who's a skeptic, the light you're about to see is behind these clouds. All right. So I'm going to pull up a couple of sort of different versions, ones that are slowed down, and all the rest of it. So give me 1 second just to bring that up for you guys, because this is crazy. Like, this is crazy footage, and I want you to see it side by side. So just give me 1 second to throw this up, move this here.
And for those that wonder whether I'm always going to be talking about aliens, I'm not always going to be talking about aliens. I'm also going to be talking about remote viewing and frequency and auras and off-worlders and spirits and entities and all sorts of very interesting things.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, if you don't like it, you can start your own podcast. Okay. I'm just kidding. Right. So on the screen here, you've got the original footage, which is the big piece of footage. Oh, wait, no, hang on a second. Yeah, we've got the original footage here. And here I've got a much higher contrast, darkened version. And when we sort of scroll through this, you can see the light becomes centered and almost fixed at a central point. You see how it sort of concentrates? And then it kind of puffs and it just bolts. But during the bolt, you get some very interesting shapes, because it's almost like the original light we're looking at now is catching up with the back of it, and then it disappears behind the cloud. But look how quickly it goes from here to there. See that?
Woof, there it goes.
You can kind of see now what's interesting is on the left hand side we get another one. See it? See right here?
Yeah, there they are.
Right there. We get another one. But that one for some reason doesn't show up so well in the high contrast. What I'm going to do is turn this one off and then play this larger one. I'll play in very slow motion now, and the one on the smaller one should just play at normal speed, I think. Yeah, it's normal speed. So this one's playing at about 40% speed.
So it just says to everybody, check your doorbell video, particularly if it's movement activated, because you will pick up, you might actually be lucky enough to get some unusual footage.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it disappears, because to me, this here, this bit here and this bit here are the thinnest bits of cloud, right? And then this is just all manky British cloud. And this thing darts forward and is freaking behind that cloud.
Gone. The interesting thing was this lady who's a client of mine. She said that after that, both her and her daughter became aware of the energies changing in the house. So she said if she gets anything else, then she'll send it through to us.
Hell yeah. I just want to say to everyone as well, somebody was just asking about Beverly's crystal, people in the crystals. I think I'm wanting to get a crystal, and that's something that I would like to try and do on the show, because Beverly is just like, oh, it's super easy. This can be something people can try at home.
But it is. I sent you a picture of one of our viewers.
Yeah.
Sent the crystal with the green man in it. So I don't know whether you can access that one. But the crystal with the green man in it was awesome. And he was right there. It was a fantastic little picture. And this was just somebody that had taken it quite far away, actually, because you could see her table, a dining room table, and you can see her furniture in the background. And there it was. And she literally just took her phone, went up to the crystal, took the picture, and then had a look at it afterwards. And there's the wee little face looking back out at her. It's so cute.
So I'm just playing with
if you've got that picture, maybe we could share that.
Yeah, I'll check now, Bev. 1 second.
Also, perhaps what we can do is, maybe if people would like, let us know if you want to see the footage where Sam realized about the incident that I was relaying back to him, and then got a bit upset about it, and then explained to me why he was so upset, because that particular energy was key for him at the time.
Do you know, I'm looking and I can't figure out why I can't find the Beverly folder, and it's because it's
I didn't touch it. It wasn't me. I didn't do it.
No, it's it's on the hard drive. It's on the hard drive that I took to my mum's, which is in my bag, which is in the living room. So
all right,
we'll do a viewer send in. We'll start collating all of that. And what I'll do is for Wednesday, I'll build a page on my website, projectroot.com/awaken, and there'll be a place where you can upload images, you can send in forms, Discord links, and all that, just to keep it all nice and neat. And we're at 55 questions already.
Come on, let's have a look at some of the questions. There might be some there for Asria. Hopefully.
Oh, hang on. I'm not done freaking out over this bit of footage. What are you talking about? Like, just give me 1 minute, because I mean, look at the way this just dropping in.
Well, it does, because remember, it dematerializes, then it materializes, provides its energy, and then moves, and then dematerializes again. It's all to do with the frequency and the dimensions.
You can see where it's flicking on and off there, right? That's where it's coming into our world. Then it travels down. But look how freaking quick that is.
Some of the ones that I've seen, I mean, this is a round one, but one of the ones that I saw when we used to live up in Blackpool, my partner and I, it was really late at night, because we had the hotel in those days, and we were sort of going along the beachfront and driving, and there was hardly anyone around. And we looked out to sea, and there was this long one that was almost like a very long, large tic-tac. And we both sort of looked at each other, and we looked at them, and he said, okay, it's them again. They're making themselves known. And then it shot up as fast as this one is that you have on the screen. It shot up into the sky and disappeared super fast, super quick. So they've been around for a long time.
Listen, side chat, somebody better be explaining to me what the hell this is in the side chat right now, because that is mad. And then it turns into, well, I mean, look at that. Do you know what it looks like? You know when you startle a fish in a river, right? It's swimming along, and then it goes. That's what it doesn't. It looks alive.
Well, it is alive, but also the lady had actually had felt this presence and the call to go to the front door. She went to the front door. She looked up at the sky, but what was really nice is she acknowledged them, and as soon as she acknowledged them, they went.
Oh man!
Yeah, and if you don't mind me saying, guys, and if you agree with this, Beverly, as well, it's very much picking up what you were just saying. There is that feeling because with a lot of this, it is that feeling that you get is that energy change. So a lot of people are looking with their eyes, going, well, I should be seeing this and I should be seeing that. There's a few C5 meditations and that I used to go on, where like you'd be sitting around in a group and people be going, well, I didn't see this and I didn't see that. But it's exactly as this lady has seen in her doorbell. She had no expectation. It was absolutely what you were saying there. It's that energy change. It's that feeling. It's that something inside you's going, there's something around. Just go out, look up and sort of see what happens. So I'm hoping that's okay to say, Beverly, but that's certainly what, through my experiences and things that I've seen in the skies as well, it's not having that expectation, but seeing how you actually feel. And the fact that we've now got this amazing technology as well that can pick up on these things, which is great. So thank you for letting me add that in.
Yes, I think it's really good. I think also for our viewers, some viewers, Asria, they don't know what CE5 is.
Sorry,
you've been doing a whole bunch of CE5 groups, and you've been looking for a nice space to host your own CE5 group in an area with very little light pollution. Would you just give a bit of a background about, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind to those viewers that are not aware of the CE5 world movement?
Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. Thank you. It's really something that I think got started by Dr. Stephen Greer a long time ago, but it's really the basis of it. I don't necessarily follow his methodology or anything like that, but the couple of groups that we go in is very much looking at those areas in the UK that very much, as Beverly was saying, that doesn't have light pollution. So if you're anywhere near London or anything like that, it's very, very difficult. But it's a group of you, and sometimes it's really good to have somebody who is a contactee, so somebody who channels or something like that, so that will actually give that initial burst of energy. But then it's going to that location, everybody sitting around in a group, getting into that meditative state. Sometimes it's good to have kind of like the cameras that can like see in the dark and things like that, but just being in that state of being open and aware, and certainly with there's less light pollution, and then just opening up your heart and looking up and then seeing sometimes like a laser pointer or something is really good. But it's very much, that's why the main note there really is that it's not to go with an expectation. So sometimes there's 5 of us. I think that there has been like 25 before, but certainly having our contactee there, so there's that initial connection, is always good, in a meditative state, which is always good, but and somewhere where there's least light pollution. Sometimes, again, following on from your amazing story there, Beverly, around by the sea or by the coast, is sometimes really good. So thank you for letting me share that.
Good. So where do you want to go to next, Ron?
Oh, listen, what I would like to do next is I want to test Discord quickly, because there's a lady on there I need to ask a quick question to. So Discord, prepare yourselves. Do not be saying anything crazy, okay? None of we should be able to hear you. We can't see you. Anyone who tries to say anything outrageous will be deleted from the internet. Do not test Uncle Ron. So here we go. Discord, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Lady,
Discord.
allegedly, you might need to turn. Yeah, allegedly. I'm gonna have to mute.
Loud and clear, Ron.
Right, you guys can hear me, right? Great, right? Allegedly, you need to fix your mic because every time I'm talking, I can hear myself. Then I'll unmute you so I can hear you. But allegedly, can I have your permission to do some oracle card stuff on your situation, please? If you can just type in the VC text chat, yes, you can do that, Ron. Try and fix your mic, and then I'll come back to you. Now
you're gonna need to turn your TV off.
You're gonna have to what?
Allegedly, is gonna have to turn the TV off.
Oh yeah, allegedly gonna have to turn the TV off. Are you? Yeah, that'd be great. I'll see if she's fixed it there. Allegedly, can you hear me?
I don't. I'm only on my phone. I don't have the TV's turned off. I don't have any other. I can't even see the chat or the show now, so I won't even know what you're saying.
Hang on. That's okay.
But I don't want to echo.
Okay,
but I need to know what you're saying. I really need to know what you're saying.
So what to do is, can you ladies, can you hear Discord over?
Yes, we can. Yeah, we can hear the lady speaking, and we can hear you.
Side chat. In the side chat, confirm that you can hear Discord. So allegedly, what I would like to just ask you, can I have your permission to just do some oracle cards on your situation that we spoke about?
Yes.
Please
help, please, yes, please, yes, absolutely, yes.
So
and
what to
Lucy,
do? What to
somebody
do?
Can somebody like
what to do?
Saber?
What to do? I'm just muting you just now. So what to do is just try and go back to listening to the show, and I'm going to work on some oracle card stuff here, and then you can turn off the show and then come back on to here so that you can talk directly with Beverly. Nikki, can you hear me? Nikki, you there? No. Lucy, you there?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Lucy, can you, Beverly, can you just say hi, Lucy? And can Lucy, you tell me if you can hear Beverly through Discord, please?
Hi, Lucy. It's Beverly.
I can hear her.
Right, perfect. All right, we'll circle back to you guys. Know that we've got it set up. We will circle back to you guys. I want to just make sure that allegedly gets back into the show, and we will circle back. I'm going to work on some oracle stuff here, and we'll be right back. All right, so that's exciting. So at least we know that's working and set up. 1100 in the chat before we go to your questions, because Beverly, it was just meant to be a little bit of content, but we are, me, you, big homie, we've got a few other people who are in it, but they're taken from other interviews, if you will. So there's a bit of Jaguar right in there. There's a few other bits and bobs, and the first teaser trailer for it has been finished, which is the big homie teaser. The Beverly teaser is coming up next. I would like to just play you guys that video. If anyone needs to make a cup of tea, this is the time to do it. But don't.
Can we give the background that what the show was all about and why we did it? Because I think we need to explain to our lovely viewers out there is what we had discovered. And why we decided that we were going to have a really good look at what was going on.
Yeah, well, this is the occult side. This isn't the transportation side. But I mean, it's honestly, right? This is going to blow your minds. The fact that everyone knows how solid Beverly is and how solid Big Homie is, the topics that we're delving into, the realities of it all, when it's paired up with B-roll and you can see what they're describing on the screen. It's going to blow a lot of your minds. So I'm going to steal 3 minutes of your life, 1100 of you, for some shameless self-promotions. Like and share. We will return, you fabulous people.
So along this path, I grew up in the church. I ended up spending time to Catholic schools, Catholic churches and stuff like that. And they have a prayer. The prayer is, Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now unto the hour of our death. Amen. Now, one day, me and my partner ended up at a confession, and a brief conversation with the Father had them come out, sit us down. We ended up having some deep conversations. Now, one thing he conveyed to me was that he is a licensed exorcist from the Archdiocese. It's a short list of people.
Tenga stretto lei qui. No, benedetto Dio. Mandala via! Stupore retina, terrore conturba, el metus repili timori sexati, lentamente vanestano, nomine santi invocazione, santissimi nomi della tua, guarda firme, levi, cadere, faulare, per Cristo, non paradiso, e invece su Cristina,
So what people don't know is each exorcist has a team. Now on this team, he usually has a bodyguard, security, someone along those lines. So we ended up getting contracted to accompany him on one of his jobs, which was indeed an exorcism. And I learned very fast that there is a spiritual realm. I learned very fast that demons do exist.
This is madness. This is
All right, so there you have it. The Beverli teaser will be out, I'm hoping, tomorrow evening. You'll get both sides of it, and it is two perspectives that will completely blow your minds. So get ready for this one. It's about an hour and a half. It's a big documentary. I do believe Big Homie and Beverli and possibly a couple of other people are going to join us when that goes out for like a live session afterwards, because it will go out as a live stream and it will be played as a full HD video on screen, and then when it ends we'll do a little bit of a Q&A, and then you'll probably find what will happen is the front part of it, like me waffling for 20 minutes while YouTube fills up with viewers. When it becomes a video, that'll be chopped off so that it will just start at the beginning of the documentary and then end with a Q&A. And yeah, hey, listen, Dark One, you're welcome not to be a believer, my guy. Okay, we welcome all mindsets here. Okay, it's if we get stuck in an echo chamber, we don't expand our mind. Okay, so feel free to constructively and politely put across your views. I just want to point out as well, my Discord's so funny, right? It's like the side chat's full of these lovely, respectful looking profile pictures, and then my mate James up in the top corner with his mullet smoking cigarettes. It's such a funny little perspective to see. So we will be jumping back into Discord. I'm going to be working in the background here on these oracles to see if I can actually do anything, but sadly I'm still at the stage where I've got to use my little book. But I'll tell you, what's been pulled is mental, and this is all around a community member named Allegedly, who has what I believe a problem with shadow people, but I think there's something attached to her and feeding off of her, and the shadow people are there to try and warn her, if I'm being honest, because I don't know. It's an odd one. So we'll delve into that too. She's very distressed about it, and rightfully so. Let's jump into some questions for the wonderful Miss Rhodes and Asria. Okay, and if you don't get to your questions, I swear, if any of you have hissy fits in the side chat tonight, okay, we're doing our best. Okay, it's 8 o'clock, so technically we've got an hour and 36 minutes of possible question time. Okay. We're doing
if there's anything urgent, then please put there urgent, and then we can have a look at if there's something that we have to look at that's really urgent, then we can do so.
What I'd like to do is if we can try and get through maybe an hour of questions, and then we'll do these cards, and then we'll go into Discord, because there is about 16 people sitting waiting to. I'm going to try and get through everybody, I promise, but we'll do our best. All right, so. First question.
Go for it.
Have you seen Elena Denan?
Elena Denan. Yes, Robin. Yes, we have. Actually, I can confirm that we'd reached out to Elena Denan, and she's actually going to be a guest on the show. So we know she's amazing. We know that she's also has direct contact, as do I, and I think it'll be a great synergy, and that's definitely going to be a live session that you seriously need to watch, because I think it's going to be lovely.
Yeah. And I just want to say it's because of you guys in the side chat that Beverly and I are expanding the whole Awaken series. Well, obviously, we're going to start this weekly show with Asria, and we're talking about a spin-off called The Gathering, which I'm hoping is going to break the internet. So just think, massive nerd here assembling an Avengers style team in his own brain, right? That's where I'm at, right? I mean, this is wild. So this is from our Kaza Bear. And I'll translate this into regular English for you. My Tam saw a UFO up close years ago. How can he know if they wanted him? Now, imagine it rather than wanted him, were they there to? Did they notice him? Maybe is probably a better way of putting that.
Mm-hmm. So I think with that Casabear, because I think he must have been reasonably young at that time, it's possible that all they wanted to do was to understand that he was able to see the energies, because if he was small enough and young enough, he would have been able to see them quite easily. If they wanted him because of their technology, or if they wanted to talk to him, then they would have been able to do so because they have that technology. So I think all they wanted to do was just to appear to him so that he could perceive them and understand those energies, and that was it.
All right, fantastic. Robin again commenting on Alel Danan. Thank you for that again, Robin. Okay, here's a good one. Do we think Prince William is a good man, ladies? Come on, let's set the internet straight on what sort of a man our future king is. I'm a big fan of the fact that he rides an electric scooter around the palace and goes to Taylor Swift concerts. All right, so that's about as far as my input goes. But what do you ladies think as far as Prince William?
Well, his energies are different. Remember that he's got his belated mother, Princess Diana's energy in him as well. So I think that, in my view, that is his saving grace. That his energies are balanced, and that he has a really good energy about him from his mother. The rest of the DNA, for me, is difficult DNA, because he does walk a tightrope between the two types of individuals that he has running in his veins. But also remember, he's got reptilian DNA in him too. Which is quite difficult. I'll pass this over to Asria, because I know she's had a little bit of a look at him sometimes.
Thank you, Beverly. I am in complete agreement. I think the fact that his mother is Princess Diana, I think that very much gives him the softness and the empathy, and which very much came through within his younger years. I think maybe having children, there's other maybe elements in DNA that have got stronger. And again, obviously, there are two sides to an individual. So, yeah, I would agree.
Okay. Okay, here's one here. So, question: asking for a friend. Sure, Katie. Okay, this is a safe place, Katie. All right, you don't have to bring the invented friend here. Where can she find true info about RH humans? I know you don't like talking about it online, but she's desperately looking for true info. She has lots of these in her family.
Oh, okay. I think what I find, there is a lot of information online about RH negative, but also have a look at some of the published papers about the differences with RH negative and how it is different within the body itself. But if you just look at it from a classical clinical point of view, the O negatives is only 4% of the world's population that is RH negative. And also, when you look at those that are AB and B negative, they're even less. So I think have a look and see what you can find. There is a lot of information published on the internet, but I think look at it from hematology point of view, blood work point of view, and see. You will be able to see then how that runs through your individual friends and how that works. Because I think when you look at how blood groups work and what the mix is, generally they come in sets of two. So where you have one RH negative human, you will normally find there's another one either in the same soul group or within the same family, because they do prefer to work in sets of two. because they have a stronger energy.
Okay, that's okay. I hope that answered that for you, Katie.
Maybe what we should do, Ron, is at some point when I've put all my writings together, because I've got a lot of writings about Rh negative and bloodlines and how it works. Maybe what we should do is put together a show about the Rh negative and how that tracks back to the star beings and how it tracks back to individuals and what people can expect, because the Rh negatives are definitely, they've got the savior blood, which can be mixed with all different types of blood, so they have the ability to save individuals. Maybe we should do a show.
Right. Yeah, maybe we should. Or maybe you guys should wait till Wednesday and we launch the Patreon, okay? And there'll may be some information there. Who knows, okay? Right, let's move on to the next question here. Is it possible for Beverli to instruct us on how to increase our frequencies collectively? Can we? Okay, here's let me. Okay. I just ADHD sidetracked.
It's
okay,
freaking out.
The sparklers have gone off, right? So, could we maybe put something together before Christmas? Maybe like a Christmas thing, where we plan to collectively like something in the world, right?
Technical thing. Well, we do actually. I've got a plan of a show where we're going to utilize on the Sunday before Christmas.
Yeah,
I'm going to send out the Huna.
That's right.
A Huna energy, as well as a specific energy frequency that I'm going to send out, and we've got somebody that trained in Hawaii that's going to be putting out the Huna energy. And for individuals that want to allow themselves to absorb that energy, because it's free will, you can either absorb the energy and decide, I want that energy to go in that particular direction, or you can decide just to be a bystander and watch, or you can be a person that says, no, I'm not interested in receiving any energy at all. The good thing will be what we're sending out, that whether you watch it live or whether you watch it later, it will still work, because that's how energy works, because energy and frequency remains.
Yeah,
so yes, we will do that. We're going to do
when Beverli told me about that, like boxing it off into little sections for things like Patreon, but also almost from like how things can live on eternally on the internet. Right, it's kind of creepy, right? When you imagine immortality and energy, and you combine it with technology, right? It's just wild, man. I freaking love you guys, right? So, what was I doing? I was doing something. All right, hang on. Questions. Beverli did that
question.
One. Okay, is there anything I can do to invite or speak to aliens or UFO encounters?
Asria, tell them about CE5 and tell them where to find CE5 in their area. Go on.
Yeah, I mean, that is certainly one area to look at, but at the same time, I mean, as you saw with the doorbell, you can do it standing in your own sort of gardens and that as well. So in order to answer your question, is there anything I can do to invite or speak to aliens or UFOs? It's really having your own connection. So looking at the previous question around frequencies, it's looking at your own sort of vibrations and that as well, and sort of going into yourself, into your heart, and having that sort of empowerment, and then seeing sort of what is coming through, as much as it is going outside and looking up and not having that expectation, and just being aware of sort of what's around you and those feelings as well, as much as getting a group together. CU5. So thank you, Beverli. I said it. I mean, that is the known term. That's not necessarily as I said, the methodology that a lot of the groups use, but certainly it's having that collective, it's having that joint sort of meditative state in a field, and being able to look up and having that contactee as well. But there's nothing to stop you going out, looking up yourself, and knowing what that feeling is, knowing what that energy is. So I hope that sort of helped answer that question. So thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. I didn't even read this when I put it up. What is the deal with Meghan and Harry? Oh, brilliant.
Yeah,
Well, I would
you're
like
right,
to take this.
Keely.
I'll take this
You're
one.
right.
Narcissism. I'm just going to put that out there pretty quickly. Megan. Right. Sorry, Beverly. Carry on.
Yeah, I know you were doing the royal show, so I know you've got a lot of info about the Meghan and the Harry situation.
Yeah.
So I like your question, Keely. Thank you very much for that. The Meghan energy is definitely all over the place. It's a very difficult energy. What I'm more concerned about is where she was before the Harry relationship, because that energy is hanging around her like a very difficult previous life in a way. And also when you look down her ancestral energies are quite vicious. So the ancestral one with her dad, the one with her sisters, the one with her mum, all of those energies are particularly spiky. The energy is very spiky. So I've been watching her to see how she changes, because she's going to have to change, but she'll have to morph into something that she doesn't want to be. And if she wants to stay where she is right now.
What, considerate and empathetic? I mean, dare I say it? Okay, right. Let's not go down this road. All right, Nick. That was a good question, though. I appreciate that. That was a throwback question. Okay, just a simple one, ladies. It's not as simple as, what is the meaning of life or anything like that. But boom, are we living in a simulation? Question mark. Kathleen. No. So are we living in a simulation or a woman called Kathleen? It's either one of the two, right? Which is it? Is it a simulation or is it a woman named Kathleen? Which one?
The fact that Kathleen has posed that question, I think she already knows the answer to that. So
yeah, moving on. Yeah.
Well, this is definitely Earth School. So Earth School simulation. But remember that some entities that are here, there's another simulated area, which is almost like a block, where individuals that either don't toe the line or perhaps cause too much havoc, when we actually take entities and we bind them, pretty much that's where I put them. I put them in their own simulation for the rest of eternity. So we're not in that simulation, no, but we're in Earth School.
I just imagine, right? Some intergalactic guy on a computer dragging somebody that they don't want in the reality into the recycle bin on his desktop, right? And it's like, oh, off you pop there. That's where you can go, you little rascal. All right, here's a good one too. Right, here's a good one. What happened? And again, I don't know what he's talking about, but what happened in London that day earlier in the year when Big Ben stopped? What? And black and white horses started galloping. What?
Yeah, that I think that was a very interesting day, because when the horse got injured and there was all of that energy, that was one of the areas that they were testing particularly frequencies and energies, because they do that from time to time. And that's why, I mean, the cameras, as you know, have been turned off. There's 52 odd key cameras for the Ring of Steel. For those of you that don't know, there is a Ring of Steel around London. And that Ring of Steel has those cameras, and they have been switched off since September this year. So they're waiting for something similar to happen. And when Big Ben stopped, the energies had spiked. Now, when the energy spikes, I don't know if we all remember when Uri Geller was on television and he bent spoons, but people's clocks stopped, people's watches stopped, or if they were broken, they started. So it's the same thing. Anything with mechanicisms inside, mechanical areas, that energy and frequency definitely causes havoc. That is what happened with Big Ben.
What's the story with Uri Geller?
In what way?
Well,
I know Uri and had done work with him. We unfortunately.
If you know him, you say to him, big respects for dropping his legal suit against Pokemon and allowing one of the, because he had a whole Pokemon removed from the whole Pokemon industry because the guy bent spoons, right? And Uri Geller was like, oh, no, Japan, no, Nintendo, we can't be having that. And for years, that Pokemon wasn't in Pokemon. And I think 3 or 4 years ago, he dropped the whole lawsuit and said the Pokemon could come back, and now he's back. So big respect to Uri Geller for doing that. But yeah, I remember I was the biggest 8-year-old fanboy in the world of Uri Geller, right? He would be on like, do you remember what was the show with like Mr. Blobby and stuff like that? Like the big Saturday night shows, right? And Uri Geller would
Neil's
be
house
there.
party.
Stuff like that. Yes,
Ooh,
exactly.
Look at you, Asria.
Nailed it. Stuff like that. And Uri Geller would come on and he'd be talking in his wee accent and he'd tell you to go and get a spoon or a broken clock or a working clock and all this stuff. And it never worked for me. But my God, little me, right, was hooked on this dude, hooked on him. And because it was he blew up like late 80s, early 90s, right? I mean, he was everywhere, giving it the old don't, and then the spoon bend. I'm all about that.
But Uri could do a lot more. We both had a lot of work when they would test. They used to like testing on us like guinea pigs. It was horrible. And we would just say, oh, you know, do we really need to participate in this? What are we trying to prove? And that was when, we're talking about like 40 years ago. And we just decided, well, actually, you know what? We don't need to prove anything. They put us in a Faraday cage. They want to see what we can do inside a Faraday cage. And
what are you saying, Beverly? Like, you're just like, what? For a start, who are they? Why are they putting you in a Faraday cage? And like, why are we not talking about this? Like, what? Oh yes, remember that time that me and Uri Geller were just locked in a freaking Faraday cage and just rattled with different wavelengths. Brilliant, mate. Tell us more.
No, separately, we weren't there together, but the two professors that were testing us, they what they did is when we were participating in certain things with certain agencies, they wanted to see what would we do and how would we do things. And it was simple things like, you know, general remote viewing. They would draw a wee Christmas tree, or they would draw, you know, they would draw a clock, or they would draw something really stupid. And then they would say, we're going to send this to you now. See if you can pick it up. Really, guys?
I'm with you. Okay. I'm with you. All right. Sarah Smith, I'm sorry that everyone's going to be annoyed, but I'm putting you right to the front, right? So what about Dynamo? Right? What about that little scamp? Because I've seen him do things that make me question my own reality, but I've also figured out a few of his tricks, like the whole eating a polo mint and then pulling it through a chain on your throat. Easy peasy, right? Like easy peasy. Okay. But some of his stuff, you can only put it down to either he's a warlock or an alien, or it's all fake, right?
Not an alien. Definitely not an alien. No.
Because he's suffered a lot. He's suffered a lot, that guy.
He has. Yeah, he has. And I think that's all part of the energetic manipulation. Dynamo does have some of his own abilities. He does, but he's a very clever magic act.
Yeah.
There are some areas that is not actually a magic act, and it's up to the individual to work out which bits are factual. Which bits aren't. I mean, some people kind of think, well, you know, you're a bit of a magic act too. And I said, well, that's fine. I mean, I can do any of this in a live environment without any information. I haven't got, you know, spotted people in the green room asking people questions and finding out information and having that fed back into my ear like some individuals do. So with Dynamo, he's a class act, but I think a lot of his energies are depleted.
I'm with you. Yeah, again, there's the paranormal, there's the supernatural, there's even, I would even say then there's magical. But yeah, you're definitely in the supernatural realm, man. If this was a comic book, like you were born with your gifts, no spiders bit you, anything like that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's supernatural. It's freaking awesome. Anyway, shut up, Ron. Get on with the questions, Ron. Okay, Beverly, have you viewed The Other Side? I'm assuming we're going with the textbook Christian analysis of life after death here.
Actually, Judith, yes, I have gone there and back a few times to go and look at certain situations and check on specific individuals. We had a loss in our family about 1.5 years ago, and I needed to make sure that she was fine. So I did do an out-of-body experience and go and have a quick look to make sure that she was fine. So answer for you, Judith, is yes. I have looked at The Other Side, and yes, I did make sure and can check on people, which I did on Friday. I checked on someone's other
that's nice.
to make sure. Yeah.
I honestly thought you said yes, Judas, and we're about to go into a story about Judas.
You did.
Judith. Oh yeah.
It's
Okay.
my funny accent, bro.
All right. Hey, Brew. Hey, Brew. Right.
Bro.
Right. Brew. Right. Listen, we've got a two-parter here from Pearl. Right. So first one, simple one. Are they creating psychic super soldiers in Antarctica? And if not, and well, listen, Netflix. That's the series we want to see. The Psychic Antarctica Super Soldiers Netflix series. Get that made. Bunch of nonsense that you make there. All right, next one. Wait, what do you mean? Yes.
Yes, they are. I've seen them.
Oh, brilliant. We're screwed, people. Like we are really screwed, right? We really please, off-worlders, balance the scales for the love of God, right? Balance
they are
the
not
scales.
going to come to save us. That is not the agenda. We have free will. We have free will.
Well, my free will, free and willingly, give me some of that technology. Free and willingly, give me something, a jetpack or some shizness. Right. Okay. This is the next one. What does it mean to be told you have a golden aura? What can you do with this as a human?
Oh, that's very nice. Well, golden aura is really nice too. Sometimes golden aura, when I see it with my clients, I notice, in my case, I can only talk from what I've seen, is that it means that a lot of that ancestral stuff that you bring with you in this lifetime, you've cleared a lot of that. Also, sometimes the gold, particularly the sparkly one, I find when it comes to me that way, that individual has an ability, either healing ability or an ability to be in service to humankind and actually do something for other people. So you can maybe become a therapist, or you can become somebody that's going to help with animals, or you're going to become a writer and help by speech and through communication. So the golden aura, there's different levels. There's different levels of sparkliness. I have seen someone recently who had a section up at the top here that was almost looked like she had lots of glitter over her. That's the best way I can explain it. So yeah, golden aura, I think you should be in service. You should be doing something to help humankind, whatever that is.
All right, we have got 3 here from a gentleman called Lit Scotty Boy, who's from Edinburgh, right? Just like me, we're in the same city, my G. Right now, I think what we'll do, we'll go with the funny one, and then we'll come back to the serious one, right?
Okay.
I have a crystal with a hole in the middle for a candle. When the notification came up and the light went through the middle of the candle, but I'm on it, right? So in Scotland, that means something very different. So if you're on it, my G, you have a good time. But now back to the serious point. Scotty Dockett is his real name. Please recognize me. How is my mum at this time of year in that world of spirituality, spiritual love, peace, and happiness, etc.? So I imagine he's asking questions about his mum and things like that. Is there anything that you can sort of, advice you can give to people who are sort of looking for answers from home? Maybe they're wanting to, connect with somebody on the other side at this time of year. Is there anything that you can say that Scotty can do to sort of pay attention to signs at home or anything like that? Or are you doing it now?
Yeah, I was doing it.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen you doing it now.
You know by now, and I think Andrew's probably doing it as well. But I think for Scotty, firstly, just thank you so much for your level of trust in us, that you've shared your real name and in a public forum, which is just awesome. The second thing I will say, that I think that she's, from what I can feel about it, she's actually okay. But the most important thing is that I think she comes in and out where she is able to perceive you and maybe see you or do something like that. I'm not quite sure how long ago or whether I've got the right person, because it might not be the exact right person, but there is somebody that comes in and out of your life and does watch what is happening in your life. I think from what I'm thinking and feeling is that the Scotty person, I think that level of grief and upset and being in a missing environment where you miss them at this time of the year, I think just be a bit kinder to yourself and just maybe light a candle and just, send your wishes, because they can hear you and they can feel the energies. So just allow that to happen, because I think that'll make you feel a lot better.
Well, listen, Scotty, mate. Listen, we all sadly have to let go of our parents at some point, and if I was you and I was asking somebody on the internet, I would want that answered. And oh shit, he froze and he doesn't know what you said. Oh God, Scotty, mate. Just give us a quick recap, if you will, because I really want Scotty to get his answer. So we'll give you a round 2, Scotty. This is a one-off, okay? So if anyone else freezes, it's your fault and not our fault. But I really want Scotty to get his answer.
Okay. So what I had said was that I think that the energies from the person that is on the other side, definitely around you, in your house, in your property, and certainly those areas that are coming forward, there is that love and peace and capabilities. But I think that the energies that are coming of loss and grief and missing individuals are coming more from you. So I think take a candle and say your wishes and send all your love, because they can actually hear you, and make sure that you send that kindness and the love back to her, so that she knows that you are thinking of her, because it is important at this time. And we do miss our loved ones at Christmas more than any time of the apart from their birthdays. We do miss them during festive seasons. So for anyone out there that's missing somebody, they do know, they can pick it up, they do feel those energies, and sometimes, depending on how long they've been gone, they can actually perceive you. So I would say, light that candle, send them peace and wishes and love, because they will actually be able to hear you.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. Well, listen, Scotty, mate, I'm glad that we got that for you. Let me just get the next question. Okay. What happens when we sleep? I had 2 very vivid dreams last night with people I know. Is it a parallel universe or something else?
Sometimes it can be parallel universe, but certainly we do have very vivid dreams, and we do have like out of body, where you go, as we go out, where you go out of your body at the top. There are some individuals that don't always remember everything, but it doesn't stop individuals going out of their body. But yes, some of the very vivid dreams, particularly if you've been able to remember them, and those are people that you know, and some are strangers, there is a parallel universe and more than one. So, it might be Earth 2 or Earth 3.
Nice. Well, Scotty, love back at you, brother. So I keep losing my. So also as well, here's what's going to happen. We're at 8:20. So we're going to get through more of these questions. Then I'm going to spend about 10 minutes and let the ladies, chat about something for 10 minutes while I do these cards, because it's kind of mad what's going on here behind on this table here. I really want to make sure that when we come to Discord, we've got time to talk to Allegedly, because she's one that I know is really not in a good way with what's going on. Okay. Excuse me. I'm wheezy tonight. All right. It's cold. Okay. Dan is running at about 57,000 degrees, so she has to have all the windows open in the house. Okay. She's going through this mad nesting period where when I literally touch anything, she needs to wash it. Okay. So the house has just got washing hung up. It's the dampness. Like I go into the kitchen and I can feel the thickness of the air. Bless her, we cotton socks.
You know what they say, Big Giant, is when that level of nesting starts, not even 5 days, hey? Not
even 5 days, and stay out the way. Okay, that would be my advice. Okay, right. So we've got some good ones. Let me tell you, have a golden aura, Scotty. Okay, Agent Orange. This is a good one too, because I've got a take on this. I want to hear the ladies' take on this first. Why don't we, instead of saying what's your take on spirit boxes? In fact, give me exactly.
But you have had a spirit box. You personally had a spirit box when you went to that graveyard in Edinburgh.
We'll get to me. It will get to me. Well, we'll see. Okay, so Scotty. Sorry, not Scotty. Agent Orange. So I've got a bit of footage of a paranormal investigation that I done, where my spirit box comes on in my pocket out of nowhere, whilst I'm standing in a graveyard about 2:30 in the morning. And I'm at an archway that used to be the main entrance into the city of Edinburgh. In fact, Scotty, you'll know Greyfriars Bobby, the graveyard of Greyfriars Bobby, the side entrance that goes out into the big posh school at the graveyard. That used to be the main entrance to Edinburgh, right? And the spirit box came in my pocket, and the first thing it blurts out is his soul is protected, right? Now, what you will get is you'll get a lot of and you're getting little radio frequencies coming through, but it's almost like what I would imagine learning another language or learning Braille is like. It's not, you're not listening to every sound, you're waiting for the moments to come through between the sound. And it's when you get home and you slow stuff down and you isolate things that you can hear things. In fact, when I'm finished doing these cards, I'll load up that clip and we'll play that clip at the end of the show, because my equipment was picked up live on stream and thrown, and I've got it all on camera, bro. And when it comes, for me, a spirit box, I work really well with a spirit box because I'm always debunking as I go. So my brain filters out what is clearly a bit of a song or whatever. But when you've got a bit of a song and then a bit of static and another bit of static and then a female voice that comes through and then a bit of radio, it's getting those moments that are in the noise and aren't clarity of sound that comes out from a radio, if that makes sense. What would your interpretation of that be, ladies? Would you agree with that?
Asria, I mean, you've got that special one in your bedroom so that you can check what's going in and out of the bedroom and keep checking on it, especially the one that the moment something goes over your threshold, the lights come on and you know what's there. What's your take on spirit boxes? Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, I've had them around for many, many years. And yeah, I mean, they first used to freak me out. So Beverly is absolutely right. It's a little teddy bear, and every so often, if there is something that shouldn't be there, it will flash. And I think I mentioned before years ago where there were certain beings that should not have been there, and that's the reason I started using them around the house, especially around my bedroom, because there are beings that can come in that will not necessarily set it off because they're at a different frequency. But then if there's ones that are that have a different frequency, a lower, then it will very much set it off. Please correct me if I'm wrong here, but that was always my understanding. So there is that particular one that I've kept by, well, it's round about my front door at the moment. So that when I'm working, I know that if something's not quite right, that it will flash. I mean, I've got my dog as well, and every time that flashes, she'll bark anyway. So it's kind of like I've got my two-stage security guard.
So I think that, to me, so a lot of paranormal investigators, that is a certain type of REM pod as opposed to spirit box, where you have a static device that will change. It'll either be a frequency-based REM pod where it's a field around the item if the field changes, not is broken, but is changed. And you get the physical REM pods that have got antennas that come out, and you have to touch the antenna or interfere with the antenna in a direct way. So if you're standing there, right, and you've got a freaking aerial sticking up, and you say, "Can you touch that aerial?" and it goes beep, something went up to that aerial. They're great bits of kit. So the spirit boxes, I think, the more traditional. Maybe you guys just, you call these things spirit boxes too, the teddy bears and things. But have you ever used the radio based communication devices? You'll hear and that, you know what I mean? That was what I was referencing. If you got an experience with those, and do you think it's more about learning the tool as opposed to just every single thing that you hear? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's more about the tool, because I know with the spirit boxes, particularly if you're talking to someone on the other side, it's not always easy for them to be able to impress and imprint their vocal energy onto the spirit box. So I think that you can actually have a conversation. So the reason I use the spirit box mainly is if I'm busy with somebody, I know what I hear because I'm clairaudient. I know what I hear coming from spirit, and then what I do is I just check. to make sure that what's on the spirit box, that they're saying the same as what I'm hearing. So for me,
Yeah,
it's
that's
just a second level of making sure that clairaudiently what I'm getting is exactly the same as what's on the spirit box.
That was some nerdy psychic stuff we just heard there, by the way, guys. I use my spirit box to double check what the spirits are telling me. That is where we're at, people. Beverli Rhodes, can we please like and share? This is Sunday night, guys, and we're all just sitting here having our minds blown. So again, I do like a spirit box, I have to say, but again, it is a tool. Now let's go back into these questions. Okay, we had that one. Okay. Beverli, I was listening to Jordan Maxwell, and he explained what we were taught about the Bible is not how it is. It resonates with me. What is your thinking on Jesus, resurrection, etc.? Or Yeshua?
I think the Jordan Maxwell explanations are all very interesting. I'd like to understand where he's getting his information from. I myself was very interested in some items. My partner has an unbelievable interest in what the master does and was doing when that person was incarnated on this realm. So I've actually gone and looked at, remote viewed some of the areas in time, and I will say that what's in the main book that's undersigned and countersigned by the Romans and the Vatican is not exactly what I'd seen. But what I did was I had to look at it as a bystander point of view and looked at the various key events and then questioned myself, why was that not written up exactly as it happened? And the answer to that could be either the language that was limited at the time, or there was an underlying secondary gain. And the secondary gain could be the reason why the Romans and the reason why the Vatican have made so many changes. So when we also look at things like the Book of Enoch, a lot of that is not part of the main book either. So yeah, I think where Jordan Maxwell has said that things are not what we've been taught, we're looking at the modern main book for a particular religion. We need to go back further than that and have a look at the original writing. So Dead Sea Scrolls, Book of Enoch, and something similar. That's my take on it.
I downloaded the PDF of the Book of Enoch and then realized there was loads of people who'd written different or published different versions. So I didn't want to dive into it. Is there a specific version of it that we should sort of, because I don't mean specific version.
The Book of Enoch is huge. I printed it out. It's ginormous. It's thousands of pages long. So I think try to get. There is one that you can buy. I know when I went to look for it originally, it's stupid money. So what I did was
we just get the PDF, yo. We'll just get the PDF for nothing off the freaking dark web, yo. It's fine. Don't worry.
Okay.
Right? Don't worry. Okay. Like the last thing I want to do, the last thing I want to spend money on, Bev, is books. I've got expensive cardboard that I need to be buying. Okay. There's cards that need to be found, Bev. But no, because when you say thousands of pages, I don't think the PDF I got was thousands of pages. So I'll maybe when we have one of our chats this week, I'll pull it up. Because I think it would be quite nice for us to get a bit of homework over the Christmas holidays, right? Maybe you can suggest something collectively for us to, because I think the Book of Enoch sounds interesting. All of this reconstruction of the Bible stuff, Egyptians, Tartaria, all this stuff, man. Like I'm freaking hooked.
It's all in the Book of Enoch. So
it's all in the Book of Enoch.
That has been and reincarnation. All of that has been purposely removed from the main book. So I think the Jordan Maxwell work is actually a very interesting piece of work to have a look at. The other one that's interesting, I was working with somebody in Japan, and she was asking me about the Christ lineage, because there was actually a mound there that has some of the artifacts and some bio aspects from the Christ consciousness. And I think that's something that's very interesting, and we were looking at that because there's I think there's a tooth and there's some hair and there's some other DNA that's actually in the mound, and it's
that's massive. I mean, the Vatican will shut that down if that. I mean, I'm not being funny.
They didn't shut it down. they didn't. No, they didn't shut it down. They sent one of their cardinals out to do prayers with the mound. So they've acknowledged it.
And then as soon as Beverli left, that cardinal gets his little shovel out and he's like, right, we've got to get this back. We've got to get this in the vault. We've got to get this in the vault, yo. I'm getting it, Pope. I'm getting it, mate. Okay. Yeah. All right. We've planted the false tooth. Okay. The false tooth is planted, sir. Yeah. I'm on to you, Vatican. I'm watching you, Pope. I'm watching you. Right. Okay. Here's a good one. Okay. This is interesting. Have issues with energy affecting radios, TV lights, electricity, and computers, etc. It's weird. Any ideas? Well, if you decide to sit with Asria in your living room and channel a bunch of stuff, and then come on my live stream on Friday, you break your mobile if you're Beverli.
Oh dear. Yeah, sorry about that. Oh my
God. It was
God.
wild.
Heather, I think you've got that energy, and you both Pleiadian, but also, I don't know, Asria, what do you think? But there's also a lot of elementals in there, and that's more than enough to affect radios and TV and light, electricity, computers. So stay away from the printer. What do you think?
Definitely elementals.
Definitely
very much.
elementals,
And remember, they can sometimes be a bit mischievous as well. So yeah.
A bit mischievous.
A
bit mischievous. They sometimes they're like low flying bats, right? Like Dan was sitting, we were sitting talking to Dan the other night, and she's lying on her side in bed, and she does this reaction as if like a moth has flown in front of her face, right? And she's looking up to see if a spider. I don't know. This is another thing. When something drops down, don't look up to see what it was. It's already dropped down, okay? Because like if a spider drops down or whatever, and I just said to her, I was like, that was one of the fairies, and it just like low dive bombed your face. And they are little rascals. Like they've been popping up a lot in duvet folds. You know, if a duvet folds over and it makes like a little cave. They're zipping about all over the place. They're fantastic. But Dan, when the baby's here and you do a reading on Dan is got the potential to be unbelievably powerful in this realm, but is terrified of it all and denies it all. And I'm like, oh no, next year we're going to go stand in a field and we're going to witness the alien ships flying overhead. And she's like, nah mate. I'm like, I'll just trick her. I'll just pretend we're doing freaking Butlins or something, man. I'll figure it out.
Oh dear.
If she could get over her fear of all of this, she could be serious player in all this, because she's tapped in so many different things, but she just hates it. She's like, turns her back on it all. Bless her. All right. Affecting TV lights. We did that. Okay, this is a good question. Right now, let's try your best to give maybe like a UK based answer and an international answer, because I'm interested in this. And I want to tag on to this, not just where can I buy crystals, but if I'm going somewhere to buy crystals, is there something I should be looking out for within the crystal? Like, are certain countries of quartz better, or whatever? Give us the crystal introductory to buying a big lump of quartz fest.
I'll pass this one over to Asria, because she's got some really good ideas on where to buy stuff locally, I believe, and then I'll go on to some of the international sides of things.
Oh, sorry, on the spot there a little bit. I'm not 100% sure, but I think my main thing is just to check how they're sourced.
Okay.
That they're ethically sourced, because in some areas, and now my geography isn't all that great, there are some places where the crystals are mined, but they're mined in like the hundreds and thousands. So I would certainly say just be aware of the places that you are buying them from. I can't think of any off the top of my head, so apologies for that. But then when you are actually getting them, again, it's how they make you feel. Remember, as soon as you take a crystal home, to cleanse it, charge it, and set your intention. Basically tell it what you would like it to do. So I'm hoping that kind of answers the questions, but I'm sure there's not as many crystal shops as there used to be, so again, be careful if you are buying online. But certainly I can't think of any particular shops off the top of my head, so I'm hoping
right.
that's on.
Give a little Google. There's a lot of places I've got like geo mining places where you can go and spend a day and pay a set amount of money and you get to
That's
pick away.
better. Yeah, that's much
Pick
better.
away. Yeah. And
Yeah,
quartz,
get your own.
quartz crystal. It looks so mystical and fascinating, right? But it grows everywhere, mate. Like so many, pretty much everywhere around the world, you can go somewhere that just literally has fists of freaking quartz sticking up from the ground. So just do a little bit of research, especially if it's quartz you're looking for, because you'll probably find that a couple of buses or a train or a car journey distance from you is a place where you can go and physically put your hands on stuff.
Yeah.
You know, because the way I kind of treat it like I would like carrots, you know what I mean? Like the closer you get to the farm, right, the better the taste in the carrot, right? The less intrusion and toxicity that's used in gathering those carrots makes a better carrot, right? How good are my analogies, right? I'm just
Very
saying.
good, and I love carrots, but I think the most important thing is don't mess with the carrot, don't mess with the crystal.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
try to make sure that whatever you're buying, make sure it's not machined, because I noticed over the last couple of years, a lot of the crystals, they've put them through the machine and they've taken away all their natural striations. They've actually, cut the bottom off, and then they've actually made sure that the point is pointier, if that's even possible, and they've machined them. So they've actually interfered with that core energy. But I think if everybody can have at least two main ones. One is an amethyst, a pure amethyst point, because that's always good to have, because it'll absorb all the negativity and keep all the nonsense that might be around you. It'll go into the amethyst. And the other one is a rose quartz. So that just includes the love, the peace, all those really good vibrations. Try to get those two, at least just those two in your life. They will make a very big difference.
I've got a piece of rose quartz about this size upstairs that I've had since I was 12. And man, it needs cleansed. All right, like one side of it is just milky colored, and it wasn't milky colored when I got it. You know what I mean? It needs some seeing. But here's another thing. So the points always scare me, right? I'm one of these people that as soon as I see anything pointy, my brain just tells me all the ways in which I can fall onto that pointy thing, right? So a lot of the crystal points and things like this that you see in places, how essential is the shape and that contour of the point? Would a cylinder do the same job as say a point?
They would be. I mean, they won't. Obviously, it won't be as strong as a raw one, as where it's been plucked and perhaps even made straight at the bottom. Those that haven't been, the smaller ones that you can't fall on, that's probably safer for you. If you wanted, you can get a palm stone. We do give those out to individuals. Palm stone, they're quite nice. They have been machined, obviously. They've been machined because they've been made round and they can fit in your palm. They're really good. But really what you're wanting is that amethyst energy, and any of those will be absolutely fine.
Yeah, that's fine. No, I'm fine with big chunks of stuff. Big chunks of things that just hurt when you fall on them are fine. It's the little things like putting a point around my neck on a thing. Oh man, I'd have sleepless nights. I'm telling you, man, I fall on my keys too often. All right, here we go. This is my living nightmare. And I'm just going to say baby monitors. Am I right, parents? Okay, I just experienced my toddler is napping. I was light snoozing. Toddler stirred, and I heard clear as day. Shh. Thought my team was here, but no. Any tips on hearing and seeing, please? God, I'm just not looking forward to baby monitors in my life again. I'm telling you that right now.
Well, baby monitors, baby monitors do pack up the astral world, and they do pick up the spirit world too. It sounds to me like you definitely were hearing, because by the looks of it, you might have been sort of half in and half out, half asleep, half awake. And I find that that's a brilliant time to be able to hear what's happening in the spirit world. So it sounds to me like somebody, perhaps a departed grandparent or something, that was saying shh to your little one, Sim.
That twilight state of not dreaming, not being awake. I have done a madness in that state, Beverly. Like when I was younger and I was doing music production, and accidentally realizing that I'm going on these journeys without actually knowing what was going on, if that makes sense. But man, are you right on that? You nailed that with the limbo world. As our simulation one. Okay. Thoughts on birthmarks. Do you believe they have anything to do with how you passed away in a past life? Maria, what a question. What a question. Birthmarks and past lives. Oh, I'm on the hook. Tell us all. Get the popcorn. I'm ready.
Get the popcorn. That's good. Well, when I did some work with Asria, we wanted to go and have a look and see what the past lives were. So I will say to Maria, some of the birthmarks, yes, particularly if you've had a cause of death or you've had a cause of not aliving, then there would be something specific in the birthmark. Could be the shape, could be something that gives you a particular angle and might be able to explain it. I did have a client once that we were doing a hypnotic regression, and she had like a whole bunch of little tiny marks all the way up her side, these little tiny birthmarks actually, and they were all different levels of brown birthmark.
Okay.
And when she was going through her hypnosis, she was lying in the past on a straw bed, and the straw bed, the rats were crawling through the straw bed. I know. Dark. And she was like, and the rats were actually eating into her flesh because she was quite poorly anyway. And then she ended up with those particular ones. And then when she came round after the hypnosis, because we taped it, she said, oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. She says, that's probably why I won't allow my children to have hamsters, rats, mousies, things like that. She said, because she says, it just makes my skin crawl. But now that I understand why, and that's because it was past life. So I don't know, Asria, what do you think?
From personal experience, I mean, she said it's certainly something to look into, but I think from my own experience, there's been certain things around sort of coming into this life and how you sort of came into this life, and I think ones at the back of the neck, I think if I remember rightly, had quite a lot of significance. So it's certainly worth having the conversations around what they are, and indeed maybe having a past life and really kind of seeing the earlier years as well. Because I know, again, from my personal experience, mine didn't actually sort of start showing itself until later on in life. So I only going on from personal experience really, but I would certainly say that there is more to birthmarks, I think.
Thank you.
Not too sure more tied to that, but yeah.
What's our next question, Ron?
Sorry, I was just asking the boss something. Okay, really interesting one. Is narcissism and other personality disorders rooted in bad DNA?
That's Asria's favorite topic, Gracie. That's definitely narcissist and narcissism. There's different levels, and I will start it off so that Asria can finish it. There's some individuals that take narcissism to another level, and that's again the attachments. So these things that are attached into the aura and that have been brought there for various reasons, and some of the personality disorders certainly are more to do with the things that are attached in the aura than actually narcissist itself. But then there are those that I would say are probably rooted in not necessarily bad alien DNA, but bad energies that are from the darker side, shall we say. But I'll pass it over to Asria because narcissism is one of your areas of specialism, isn't it, Asria?
Indeed. Thank you. It's certainly a lot of many years of experience with one or two individuals, and I would absolutely agree that it's not necessarily rooted in that alien DNA, even though we can say around sort of different personality traits. So I wouldn't necessarily link any of those back to narcissism, but absolutely pulling upon the points that Beverli was making there around the attachments, the negative attachments, and also bringing the ego into it as well. So we're working with the different energy levels, we're working with the different frequencies, and not only that, you're then potentially linking it to hoping I can say these words, like possession and things like that as well. So again, when we have one or two entities, then they can then start building, and then you're looking at a full takeover. So with the narcissism, absolutely not necessarily rooted in the alien DNA, but certainly linked to the person's vibration, is linked to their soul path, and it's certainly linked to the negative and
the dark
evil
ones.
Entities that are around, indeed, especially if there is holes within the energy body that they will be able to get in, and indeed bringing that ego through as well.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Yeah, I think
Ron,
that's all
what's our
we
next
can really say on that at the moment. But
That's right.
yeah,
I've got a banger. Denise is going in hard here, and I'm here for this. Intuitively, I believe the Galactic Federation sold out humans long ago. I'm also skeptical of the Palladians. Can you expand on this? Thanks. Love you.
That's so cute.
It's a banger.
Yeah, that's a banger. Yeah, it's not. I think possibly you might be confusing Galactic Federation with Galactic Federation of Light. Intuitively, it might be that you are seeing the Galactic Federation of Light because you can't federate light in the first place. So the Galactic Federation of Worlds definitely has not sold out the humans at all. They assist and they watch, and they don't interfere at all with our free will. But the Galactic Federation of Light, I would say yes, they did sell out the humans, because they certainly don't act in our best interest. So it might be that you are intuitively picking up on the Galactic Federation of Light, because they are two different things. The Pleiadians, you will always get those that are benevolent and those that are malevolent in all of the various beings that we're in contact with. And that is just something that if you are in touch with the Pleiadians, not all Pleiadians necessarily will be there for the good path forward of humankind. Some of them they do have, and some of them will have their own agenda. So it's up to yourself and what your soul is telling you, whether those individuals that you're coming across, whether those Pleiadians actually are there for your greater good, or whether they have their own hidden agenda.
All right, let's get on to this next one. Okay, hang on. Let's see. Okay. So I mean, this is quite a. I mean, this could be anything. I had a seizure a little bit before y'all went live. Am I being attacked? I mean, there's a lot of reasons I would imagine people can have little seizures. Is it, Wendy? We would probably need a little bit more information. Like, for example, are you prone to seizures? That would be my first question. But if this is like if 20 minutes before every Beverli show you have a tiny seizure, there's probably something going on here, right? If you've never had a seizure before and you have experienced something like that, there's maybe something going on here. But like I say, if you routinely do suffer from seizures, we just need a little bit more. We're a little bit more expanded. I would imagine Beverli can probably just and get all the answers, but you need to expand, I would imagine.
Yeah, and also it's, if there's a clinical reason for your seizures, I would look to make sure that your doctor is aware of it. However, if it's something that is out of the ordinary or completely out of the ordinary, sometimes, occasionally, there can be an attack. But if seizures are part of your medical history, then the probability is it's more than likely part of your clinical issues. But the exposure to that, I will say, sometimes, because with a seizure, the energy body splits, and there is an issue when the energy body splits like that. Sometimes, only sometimes, you can experience some form of attack, but really does depend on your clinical activity and what you're being treated for.
Okay, well, listen, everybody, we're coming up to 5 to 9. We've got 35 minutes left. What I would like to do is I want to go and like, this is a new thing for me, this whole oracle card thing. And allegedly has given me permission to do this. And I spoke to allegedly the other day about a problem that she's having, and I'm trying to now get to the base root of something. So what I'd like to do is spend 10 minutes just going over these, typing something up. Then I'm going to pull allegedly into the live room underneath the members room, bring her onto the show. I'll, give my sort of explanation of what I think is going on. And then maybe Beverli, you can see if you can give her any advice and if anything I've said lines up with anything you're feeling. Is that something that makes sense? That
makes sense. And I think also with Asria, if she's able to pick up something as well, I think we'll have the three of us will be able to have a good look at her energies and see, as a deep dive, have a look and see what we can find to help her.
Yeah, wicked. Okay, so if we've got any time after that, we will do more questions. So I'm going to turn off my camera, turn off my mic, and let the ladies just have 10 minutes of, talk about whatever you would like to talk about. I'll put your websites up here as well. Maybe you can just plug yourselves and do a bit of shameless PR for yourselves there, ladies. And we will be back. I just want to say, when I come back, if we've got any questions, we're the last one was the seizure one, so I need to remember.
Yeah.
Okay, I will be back with you in 5-10 minutes, ladies. Thank you so much. Continue the show, and I'll be returning.
We will. So, Asria, I want to go through some of the, when we're busy with some of the areas with the chakra points, is start explaining some of the areas with the chakra points, some of the areas that we can maybe share with some of the viewers where they can do some very simple cleansing, but also with the pituitary gland to start getting that to open up and start allowing some of the areas to become more obvious to them. And also just some of the areas that you've been dealing with recently, examples of, cleansing the chakra points and cleansing the areas so that people can be more connected, because we're starting to awaken.
Oh, very much so. Thank you. So through, I'm just picking up on a few clients that I've seen recently. And it is very much that connection between sort of the solar plexus and so really kind of like those root chakras. And because with the chakra system, it is very much your powerhouse. So before we actually sort of make it up to here, we're really wanting to look at those root ones as well. So the solar plexus, bringing that energy up, and especially kind of like in women sometimes. So it's a small thing by putting one hand right at the base, sort of by the womb area, and then one hand on the heart, and breathing that through. So bringing the breath right from the base all the way up. That can absolutely help really start moving those energies. And very much with the clients that I've seen recently, yes, there have been maybe some blockages. There's been a couple of attachments there, but once we've actually done that work and obviously worked with our guides, etc., within those sessions, it's really kind of like keeping those energies moving. So one of the exercises that I've been very much shown by my guides is hand on the base, hand on the heart, and then breathing deeply right from that root base all the way up. So, but again, I would say before doing sort of any energy work, just making sure the area around you is protected as well, making sure that you're relaxed. Again, I would maybe stay away from red meat and alcohol and recreational drugs and that before you kind of start delving into that work. And then once we're starting to bring the energy up, that's when obviously we can then start working on the pineal gland, etc. But it's really getting in my opinion, really getting that powerhouse working, and then that's when you start sending the energy up. So again, it's very much bringing it back to simplicity and using that breath in order to move those vibrations, move those frequencies all the way up, and then we can start connecting. I hope that helps, Beverli.
Yeah, I think that will help, especially there's a lot of our viewers that are new to certain areas and might be new to understanding about the chakra points, the energy points across the body, and understanding how some of those can be cleansed, but more importantly, that some of the chakra points, particularly the throat itself, the throat seems to be an area in today's world. We're finding that the throat chakra point does have a tendency to have lots of pings and lots of blockages around the side, because we're in an environment across the world now where we're not able to actually speak our truth. And if we feel certain opinions, shall we say, about specific things happening in the world around us, we actually have to close this off, because we're not really allowed to say how we feel, because many people either get shut down or they get reported to human resources, or they get cancelled in the cancel culture. If you're a celebrity person and you say something and it comes out that that's only just your opinion, this area here does then tend to get closed down because you're not able to say your truth or speak your truth. So there's this area, I find this area here, there is a lot of there's a lot of high energy, but then the moment you say something that doesn't resonate with individuals around you, you get told to shut down, or that's not really the right opinion. You can't say that sort of thing. You're not allowed to come out with that sort of attitude. Why are you saying this? And then you get attacked for what it is you're saying. And there's many topics around the world that seems to be a conversational no. And that's why this area here is actually closing down, and there's blockages in it. So if you find that when you're speaking that you feel, oh, should I actually say that? Maybe I shouldn't say that. That's as a result of this area here experiencing a minor blockage, where it's acting as a security blanket to say, just be careful by saying your truth, or by saying something about these topics, shall we say, that are a no. This area here tends to be reeling back because you've said something that perhaps is not quite right, or it doesn't actually meet with the vibrations that are out there. The other area at the top, I think the top chakra point, there's a lot of people now, but that area, that energy is really becoming quite strong. A lot of individuals are having particularly migraines and headaches sort of behind the eye. There's a lot of that happening as people are starting to awaken. And certainly with the DNA being switched on, you're getting these top two in the head. I'm getting a lot of individuals that are saying, I'm having the most awful, like tension headaches across the top here, behind the eyes, going into the back of my head, and here in the front of the head as well. A lot of energy, a lot of really strong energy coming out as we start awakening, and as our DNA starts coming into its full power and full ability. Is there anything that you've picked up in your current sort of practices? Has there been any trends that you've seen? Because certainly there's a lot of people that are going through a lot of changes, and I notice in my area where I'm seeing people realize, my clients and others seem to realize there's something happening, and they know they've got to do something. They can't quite put their finger on it to say, that's what I've got to do. Have you found the same thing?
I absolutely agree. Yes. And very much the pressure behind the eyes is definitely one that I'm hearing quite a lot. And sort of people are very much focusing around sort of like the head area, and not necessarily said further down, knowing that it is, as I said, one system. I certainly absolutely agree with you around the throat as well, even to a point where people are going, well, I've had a bit of a sore throat, thinking that it's winter, I've had a sore throat for X amount of weeks, etc. And especially at the same time as they're getting these headaches. So it's almost like I want to use the term, if I may, sort of like ascension symptoms. It's kind of like one then feeds into the other, then feeds into the other. So yeah, I would absolutely agree with the similarities between individuals who I'm seeing. And then around that, obviously, it all depends on the individual as well. But it's really just looking at how to open the voice. I mean, one lady said to me that she used to love singing, but doesn't anymore. So it's small things like that that very much, if it's using the voice in whatever way possible. But again, with each individual, sometimes what works for one may not work for another.
Did you also find with the energies around humming, a lot of those energies that are happening where the vocal cords are vibrating and the humming, those are protective energies. And I'd say to individuals where they feel maybe that there's an energy coming in, or they feel like they're being threatened, or there's something there that they can't see it, but they know there's an energy field and there's something out there that doesn't feel quite right, or they're entering into a difficult situation either at work or at home or in a relationship. I find that with part of the empowerment of that energy is to feel your throat and allow yourself to start that humming, because that vibration of the humming will actually negate a lot of that negative energy that's there, and it will actually calm it down. So using the vocal cords, which are situated just above this particular throat chakra point, allowing them to vibrate and move out, because that energy moves out in quite a large wave, and that wave then will help just reduce those negative energies and reduce what is happening. And even if you find that you're stressing with driving, or you're stressing with traveling on the train, or you're stressing in a bus because there's lots of energies, lots of people, lots of things happening, or you have to go into a meeting, or you have to maybe do a presentation, if you just take just a few minutes beforehand, not even 5 minutes, you just do it for a short period of time, and do that cyclic humming. That humming will actually calm you down, calm the energies around you, and give you that little bit of space that you need to change your aura around you, so that you can allow yourself to connect where you need to connect, but more positively allow yourself then to move forward. So have you been also using a lot of salt recently? Because I think that a lot of people are using salt in different ways. They've realized that salt is excellent for cleansing. They're also it's excellent for protection. So I've been saying to individuals now is to create a salt water environment where they can write their name and put their name in the salt water, because that energy will be protection. And really, you can put your intention out there when you're doing it and get that intention through the universe to come back. Have you found anything? Are you using any salt in your current practices?
Absolutely. That salt has been my sort of go-to for many, many years, along with a couple of other tools. But that is absolutely, I would completely agree there. And that's what I also advise people on as well, is for a level of protection, like especially after you've done maybe a lot of energy work, going to have that Epsom salts bath for years, especially with the situations that I mentioned earlier around those dark energies and entities, having the salt around my bed, so underneath. So then at least I knew that area for me was protected. There was a little bit of angelic scripture and one or two others, but having a little salt pouch on my person, like in a little red pocket or something like that. So thank you, Beverli. Yeah, absolutely.
Something like that then.
Yes. we both got our own, but yeah, so absolutely having that little bit of salt is always key. But yeah, around the bed, or sometimes I have a little bit just underneath the couch as well, underneath the sofa. So many uses, but certainly it's in the toolbox.
Lovely. Hi, Jen.
Jen has come to join us.
Hi, evening all. How are you?
Well, listen, I managed to get the reading done. For those of you who do oracle cards and things like this, I'm not somebody who follows how things are should to be done, how things should be done when it comes to what I believe in my own magical realm. I like to do things how they feel right to me. So for what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab Allegedly, I'm going to put her in the live room with myself, introduce her, make sure she's got everything turned off and we can hear her and she's feeling okay. And we'll go through what's going on with her and go through these cards and what I've done here and how I'm going to do this sort of thing, because this is my first time. This is the popping my cherry live on the internet with the oracle cards and all this kind of stuff, right? So I know I need to learn better ways of talking. I apologize. So Allegedly, I'm going to put you in there, and then I'm going to put myself in here, and then you've got your mic off.
From our side, what will we see on the screen, Ron?
You'll see us right now, and I'm going to show cards. I'm going to read some stuff out. But Allegedly, can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely. Am I okay this way? Do I sound okay?
Yeah. Can you, ladies on the panel, can you hear Allegedly? Just say hello, Asria, Beverli, to Allegedly.
Oh,
hello.
Hello, you guys. Oh, thank you. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah. So we've got about 20 minutes left, right? So can you just give us 4 or 5 minutes of a summary of what's been going on allegedly, and with what you've been seeing and what's been happening?
Yeah, this is okay. Listen fast, because I've been on the phone for 30 hours and writing in my book for 5 days.
Okay.
But I have the weight of 1,000 lifetimes. I've worked with other people that have tried to help me and they've run away crying. I have medical conditions that was down to 80 pounds. I'm 5'6". I have a list of things, of traumas, physical, medical, mental, abusive, sexual, all of them. I'm not public right now, right? No one can hear me.
No, we're on the show. Like we're live. We're live. So be careful what you say.
I've got a list of stuff. I've got a list. I've got a list of things. I'm gonna not say anymore, but there is. That's. They're not. I'm just giving the.
Yeah, that's an off. Yeah, you can share more offline, of course. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's not even. That's just the tip top.
Yeah. Well, when we spoke the other day, there was, you'd been seeing individuals. In fact, it was me talking about the shadow people and the man in the hat, and then you had mentioned, what was I talking about? How did I know about the man in the hat? And we went on a little journey talking about the documentary Nightmare and all of these things. So what I've done is my interpretation of my crows, right? I've got a set of oracle cards that are called Urban Crows. This is what it looks like here. In fact, hang on, let me just swap myself out here. It's called Urban Crows, all right? And obviously, I'm all about these crows. So I don't call these oracle cards. These are just my crows, okay? And I pulled 3 cards, and the first card was for cause and catalyst, okay? Which is my interpretation of what I wanted to answer was, what started all of this with the shadow people and this feeling of something of an attachment? And the first card I pulled is called Battle, okay? And it signifies, let me read you what the little book says, all right? Crows are incredibly territorial and will fight intruders to maintain order within their space. You may find that defensive feelings are brewing, whether they're from within or from an external force. If you have perhaps stepped on toes or entered into someone's territory or bought a piece of furniture or moved into a house, this card may also indicate that you will need to defend yourself against someone attempting to infiltrate your space. Very interesting. Notice the crows sitting on the wires. They are not involved, but are watching to see which bird will be its victor. This may also indicate that when it comes to a situation, the battle is brewing. There is not much in the way of outside support from either side. This could be an advantage or disadvantage. That part wasn't the main part. But for me, this indication that this catalyst was from you intruding in a space or taking possession of an item that is setting off a sort of chain of events. So I don't want you to react this now. You can give me your overview once we get through all of this, right?
Sounds good.
the second card I pulled was for current state or cause and effect. So your current state based off of the results of what caused this. And I pulled a card called routine. Okay. And this signifies repetition, odd encounters, and a feeling of being trapped. Okay. And I imagine that since all of this is picked up with you, you've went more inward. It's been more of a living in a prison scenario. So the next card was outcome or future outcome if this isn't dealt with. All right. So if we allow this to fester, what could the possible outcome be? And this card was called displacement. Okay. And this card, channeling a fight to step. It basically talks all about you need to understand your true potential. You need to understand that you have a strength inside you to defeat all the things that are going wrong with regards to the paranormal dimensional realms of this. I'm not necessarily talking about health or anything like this. I'm not a healer by any means.
No, but I hear what you're saying. No, I hear what you're saying. It makes sense.
There's a true indication that you have inside you what it's going to take to beat all it. It's almost like what's happening to you is a simple fix that's been allowed to fester, right? That's what it feels like. Okay. It also indicates that you're a punching bag for something, almost like something is feeding off you. All right. Now, I called on one more card, which was I call this my guidance card, which once I've given my interpretation of these three cards, I'm asking the crows, how accurate am I? Did I nail this, crows? And they gave me this card, balance. Okay. And balance, it's showing that you're in a current state of low energy. Your inner man is down. You need to find that strength. And I think all you need is a little bit of confidence in knowing that if there is an attachment or there is something going on, there's a cleansings and purifications that can go on to make this sort of thing happen. Now, that was my little reading. Okay. What do you think about that? Does any of that ring home? I know we spoke the other day, but I was pulling stuff and there was words and descriptions and things like this that were matching what you had said. It felt very much like I was pulling these cards for you. Okay. But again, I've never done this before. You're very much the guinea pig.
Thank you. I'm actually often the guinea pig for many things, and you did an excellent job. I'm laughing and crying a little bit at the same time, and I got chills and goosebumps, and there's ringing in my ears real bad. If I'm talking loud, tell me to be quiet. But yes, but it's hard because I have ADD. So you said all that stuff to remember what you said in a row. So your brain has to. But backing up to the first one, but the old car, everything is old. I've never lived in a new building. I am the keeper of things that passes thing on and inherits and gives them to other things. And it's a very long part of that. So that's a whole separate thing. But yeah, that resonates completely. And I also go out and search and find and collect rocks and artifacts, and I dig up things. So a lot of that, but I'm kind of laughing because when you're saying cleansing the whole house, it kind of means I should just move into a tent.
Well, after what you said the other day, we all know that things can attach to furniture, to houses, to all kinds of things. And if you're collectively drawn to more and more items that have history, that might be through free will, or you may be being drawn to them for a reason. And if you've got a house full of these objects, collectively, they're just, in my opinion, there may have been, that's maybe how something was brought in to your world. Okay.
Yes, possibly, or I mean, yes, for sure, because there are things that are attached to other certain objects, I think, but I don't even know how to get into it. I think I've had stuff from other lifetimes, so I think that this lifetime, yes, that's what's happening.
I'm burning up on on my left side, I've got a very intense heat. Do you know, like,
my left ear is driving me nuts. I can't hear, and it's pounding in my left ear. My right ear usually does stuff, but my left ear I can't hear.
Now, usually when my left side starts going, it's an indication that we're getting somewhere. So, how long have you lived in the house?
This house 7 years, but I've always lived in old houses.
And how
always, and
long,
I've always had issues.
How long ago did the oppression begin?
When, in the womb.
Okay, so your current situation, has it amplified in this house, or is it just always? Is it just me? Has this been a lifelong issue?
It's been lifelong. Building the medical stuff has to, correlate. So there's an issue there, but it's definitely worse now. But I'm also aging, so there's that.
All right. Well, listen, I think I'm going to hand over to Beverli and let you talk to Beverli. But I genuinely, the vibes that I'm getting are, it's kind of like something that we can. It doesn't seem like it's an unfixable issue with regards to the energy, for what I feel is an attachment, right? Or something feeding off of you. And the shadow people, I think it's almost as if you've allowed a little something to fester into something huge, if that makes sense. But I could be wrong. I could just be completely off the mark. Beverli and Asria, I'm going to hand you over to them and let you just chat with them. Maybe let's focus on what you and I have spoken about, and then we'll definitely make sure you connect with Beverli and Asria after the show as well, just because I imagine they're going to have some stuff to say right now. So Asria, do you want to go first? Beverli, do you want to go first? Let's chime in and let us know.
Okay. I think that was a really good reading, Ron, and certainly the cards look like they were connecting really well. One thing that I will say is that a lot of those energies are ancestral energies, and I think that where the commentary was around that it was womb and pre-womb, I think that that's correct, because it's been passed down the bloodline, and it's been passed down. It's like a, I don't know, it's like an island of some sort, where there's this particular energy around an island that is coming very strongly. And this has been passed through for generations. So this would be from your mum to your mother's mother and those areas. This is something that's very, very far back. And unfortunately, it's all just culminated in you specifically. Because you've been in the house for 7 years, that 7-year cycle enables any attachments that you've got to be fully enveloped in your auric field. So I would suggest there's a level of deliverance that's needed in order to remove that thing. We won't give it a name, but that thing from whatever's with you. And I think the other thing I really would like to say is, don't feel that you've got a sacred space and you don't have a safe space to go to. So my suggestion would be is to create your bed that you sleep in as a sacred space. And that will give you then a proper night's sleep, because I don't think you've had enough sleep for a very long time, or not a good sleep anyway, where your soul can sleep and your body can sleep. So by picking up your mattress and putting down coarse salt or pink salt, Himalayan salt, and if you have any crystals, make sure that they're cleansed, and then put them underneath the mattress so that that space is cleansed and clear for you, so that you can have that as a space that you can go to, as a sacred space, because I don't see you ever having been let off from what you're going through. And this is like constant energy barrage, pushing. You need somewhere that you not necessarily hide, but you need somewhere that you can go to. So even if you go and sit on the bed, you need a sacred space, and that could be your bed.
Okay, so just very, very quickly, can you give us a 30-second way of cleansing your crystals? When you said cleanse
quick
crystals.
ways, put them in the sunlight, put them into the moonlight, or you can put them in a very large powerhouse, one of the really big crystals, and put them on there. Sure. But I would wash them and make sure they're clean. Yeah, sure. And then put them in the sunlight and put them in the moonlight.
Pink salt, sea salt, rock salt, anything like that under the mattress. You hearing all this allegedly?
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's
Asria,
resonating
I'm
very
telling
much.
you now.
Yep. Yep.
Asria has been having a conversation with somebody while she's been sitting quietly there. What's going on, Asria, over there with you with this whole subject here?
I would absolutely agree with yeah, everything that Beverly was saying, especially around the 7 year. The biggest thing that came up for me as well, though, is breathing. And breathing will bring you back to your power as well. So it will bring you back to the body. It will bring you back to yourself. So within that sacred space that Beverly's just mentioned, which can be very powerful, when you are in that area, breathe. Okay? Because it's really kind of just however you feel necessary, because when you do get that bombardment, sometimes our bodies kind of go into like this overload, and I'm not telling you need to breathe like this, breathe, doesn't matter, just bringing your awareness back. Okay, when you are in that space, because you are bringing it back to you, and it's you who are the most important. Because I can see at the moment there's, again, I apologies, I think Beverly may have mentioned this, but there's a lot kind of going on around you and with you, and it's kind of like, whoa, hold on a minute, let me go into that space and just,
yeah.
Does that make sense, please?
Yes, absolutely. And you two are the first people, you're on mute, but that have said anything with a straight face and not backed away saying it, and you're spot on. Both of you.
Awesome. Beverly, the email that you email me from, can I make that public?
Yes, yeah, you can put that one in. The one on the website,
There you go.
there's an issue on the back end. That's why it's not working.
Oh, listen. But 2025, Bev's going to have a whole new web presence. Okay, I'm telling you that right now, because what she's got right now ain't representing the. There's not enough. It's coming. Okay, it's coming.
You just don't like my website. That's all. I know you don't.
Listen. I just know we can lift it up a little bit. Just a little bit. It's not
all right. I'm
clickable
not
yet.
taking it personally. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
somebody has deleted a hot link. I can guarantee you. I can see it now. Highlight, and I'll just.
It might even have been me, knowing me.
Listen, you
So
probably
I
just.
think Asria and I, what we could do is we could join our energies for the lady that's on the line now. And I think we could join our energies and send over that heavy healing ability, so that at least tonight you can get a decent sleep, and that you can regenerate yourself. And it's not something that I fear, and I know Asria's not afraid of this sort of case either, because it's the sort of thing we're used to doing. But I do think that a deliverance session would definitely help you.
We've got 3 minutes left. Allegedly,
Okay.
can you? If I get her, don't say it on the internet just now. Allegedly, I'm not asking you. But if I get her to send me her name and birth date and state or whatever, I'll then WhatsApp it to you, lady. So if you can do that just now, allegedly. Sorry, we couldn't spend more time. We're going to do. I'm sorry, everyone on Discord who's been waiting. We're going to jump into the members' room so everyone can say a quick hello, and then we've got to be out of here in 2 minutes, because guys, that is how 3 hours feels. Right, on the Beverly Rose Awaken show. Okay, and Jen has agreed to be my next participant in the card reading. So
well
so listen, we're going to quickly all jump into here. Discord, I'm so sorry I only managed to get round these all. If you all want to turn your mics on and collectively just say hello, and we'll all just pretend like I've not kept you waiting on ages and then totally not delivered. But we will make sure we get more of you in on Wednesday. If anyone would like to say a quick hello, please do so.
Hello to everybody.
So we're on Discord now.
Yeah.
And team.
Yes, fascinating.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
So
Evening all.
Wednesday night, when we do the Discord section, there'll be a part on my screen that will go down the side here that'll have everyone's names and everyone's little picture, so that when you guys are talking with Beverli, they can see who's talking and all the rest of it. So it's gonna progress nicely. Oh, we have ended the show at perfect timing, ladies. Like this is usually when Sean will message me and go, "Nah, mate, I'm running 10 minutes late. Keep it going for another 10 minutes." When I'm midway through the outro, bless his cotton socks. But we have, and I've just got to make sure the outro's off. Hang on 1 second. Yes, it is. All right, fantastic. Well, listen, thank you, Sidechat. Thank you, Beverli. Thank you, Jane.
And Asria, thank you for coming today as well. I
Yeah,
think it's great.
Asria.
And all your hard work on doing all these readings and the celebrity readings that you're going to do going forward. Thank you so much.
And just for anyone that missed it, next Sunday, here is a message from the man himself.
There it is.
This is Big Homie.cc. Just to let everyone know, I will be live next week with Ron and Beverli for Off-World DNA. Keep fighting the good fight, everyone. Godspeed.
All right. And
big fucking sweet dreams to you, my guy. Go and drift off into the land of fucking Nod and have sweet dreams.
That's me replying to tell him to go into the land of Nod, played at 2 times speed. I keep playing because they keep playing. But listen, we're going to end right now. Thank you all for being here. You're all legends. Mods, you're all legends. Side chat, join the Discord. Peace, love, subscribe, all that good stuff. Peace.